11, you got Lewis Reese. Derbyshire. I've ever been corrected with my Australian pronunciation. It's Derbyshire is the way it's pronounced. I'll start with Derbyshire. Lewis Reese, Bill Goddelman, Wayne Medson, Lewis Deploy, Alex Hughes, Matthew Critchley, Finn Hudson-Prentice, Anuj Dahl, Darren Smith, Logan Van Beek, and Robbie Rumpel. So that's the strong team there from Derbyshire. Essex, Tom Wesley, Cameron Delport, Adam Wheater, the keeper in at 3, Daniel Lawrence, Ryan Tendosti, the Irish, really good player. Dutch, I'm off to a brilliant start at the moment already. He hasn't changed teams. Robbie Bapara, Paul Walter, Simon Harmer, the captain, Aaron Ajay, Aaron Beard, and James Porter. And what do you make of that, Andy? You're sitting to my right.
Well, Essex have won the toss and elected to bat. Probably, as Knackle said in the green room, they've had a look at that last game. They've seen the wicket get a bit slower and a bit slower. They've seen Nottinghamshire somehow fall away in a chase that looked completely in control. 11 needed off 2 overs with something like 7 wickets left. And they just seemed to be a bit casual to me with that chase. They never really got ahead of it. They just seemed to think, oh, we'll get there. And it just goes to show you should never give up. But coming back to this game, the 2 teams who are considered the weaker of the 4 teams going in today, but one of them has a great chance, obviously, going to get to that final and play against Worcestershire. So Essex riding high, top of the championship with 1 game to go, whereas Derbyshire somewhere in the depths of Division 2 have put their focus more on T20 this year. And I would think Essex are minor favourites. They've also won the toss, which should help. But as we've just seen, anything can happen.
Very true, and also like to welcome Grubby.
Hello, Pranab, hello, Andy, and hello, everyone again. I'm sort of rooting for Derbyshire in this this finals day. They are the outsiders, or at the start of the day, were the outsiders of the 4, down to the last 3 now. So they're already making progress.
There you go.
And I just think the Cork factor. He's just got something about him, whether you like him or you don't. He might just irritate them through to the final and glory.
My coach, one of the many coaches I've had, played with Dominic Cork at Derbyshire, and he was in the don't camp.
Okay.
As in, he wasn't a fan.
He liked him or you don't. Yes.
Oh, I see. I see. Yes. Yeah, I think that camp is probably a larger camp.
Well, as in anybody, if you love them or you hate them, more people hate them, as a rule of thumb. Especially if they say that themselves. You either love me or you hate me. That means everybody hates you.
Yes, I'm pretty Marmite. I used to work on Marmite and did some advertising for them back in the day when they did all that love or hate stuff. And it's been sort of interesting and slightly gratifying to hear it pass into the common parlance. But basically what it means is, you're right, a lot of people don't like me. Do you want to hear my mascot story then, Andy? I've been threatening to tell
I
it.
was just going to ask about the mascots.
Yeah.
Did the Eagles win or the Falcons in terms of the mascot?
It was the Falcon. Now, has it ever happened that the winner of the mascot race also represents the winning side of finals day? We don't know.
We'll
if anyone can tell us that would be tremendous.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, though, years ago, when I first took my wife, my now wife, Emma, we were only courting back then. We were courting.
Okay.
My football team is Ipswich, as you may know, and took her to watch Ipswich versus Wimbledon. That's how long ago it was. when Wimbledon was just one team.
And we're not triggering Hendo here.
Ipswich lost 5-1 at home. So I thought, bloody hell, I'm not taking you again. But there was a moment at half-time when there were 2 mascots. There's one, so the badge of Ipswich is a Suffolk Punch horse. So there's one guy who walks around in a big white horse costume. He's called Bluey, because Ipswich playing blue. Do you see what we did there? Yep. And there's another guy who's like, he's a black horse and he's got wraparound shades. He's called Crazy. No, he's called Crazy. No, no. Even Ipswich aren't that crass. So anyway, Emma says... it was still quite loud, even though we're losing about 3-0 at half time. And she'd said what turned out to be the phrase, "I want a hug off Bluey." And now later on the train journey home, I said, when you said that, I genuinely thought you said, "I want to suck off Bluey." And there was a woman asleep opposite us on the train, across the way on the table. And as we got off at Liverpool Street, she opened her eyes and looked at me and she said, "I'll never look at that horse the same way again." So that's my mascot story. 15 years later, we've never
She
been back.
never- She never did manage to. Bluey, if you're listening.
Missed opportunity there for you,
Missed
Bluey.
opportunity right there. Did she only tune in for the mascot race and just kind of ignores the rest of the commentary when you're on?
I don't know. She's probably not listening because she's probably got other things to do because I've left her in the lurch with the kids today to do this. Anyway, we're having a little bit of social media technical issues, but I think you can still tweet us in.
Still tweet us in. We'll definitely get to them. I'm on Derbyshire as well. Now they can pronounce their name correctly. I'm on their bandwagon.
Like something
Doesn't sound like you can.
an interesting pronunciation story I heard this
Yes.
morning. Now, Marnus Labuschagne, as most people call him in cricket,
Yeah.
his brother not only plays for a different country in a different sport,
Oh yes.
he plays rugby for South
Yes,
Africa.
That's amazing, isn't it?
They also pronounce his name differently. They actually pronounce it properly.
Which is?
I'm not sure, but it's not Labuschagne.
Is it more like Labuschagne?
Something like that.
or
But the
Skagner, yeah.
thing is, when Labuschagne went into the cricket dressing room, of course, they all just called him Labuschagne, and he thought, oh, fuck it, I'll let it go.
Yeah.
So he's not only the only person people can think of. I mean, people have played the same sport. Brothers have played the same sport for two different countries, and brothers have played different sports for the same country.
Yes.
You couldn't think of anyone else who's played different
like it.
sports for different countries and has their name pronounced differently.
Oh, blimey, Charlie. Yeah,
If anyone
that is
does know, tweet
very
away if
specific.
anyone has got any examples of
very
that. I'd
specific set of
love to hear
circumstances.
it.
Linux Lear, now, there's a conversation going on. So Linux Lear is replying to Steve Shipcott. Steve had said, actually, anything can happen in the next half hour, yelled by the 6-year-old me running around the garden until Thunderbirds took over my life. Lennox Lear says to that, damn, can't believe I got that wrong. I always like Stingray better than Thunderbirds. So apparently that quote's from Thunderbirds, not from Stingray. 5,
Important correction
4,
there. Yep.
3.
Right there, we've got Ravi Opara coming on screen. How crucial do you feel he is today with his sort of slowy back of the line, medium pace with the pitch slowing down?
He's a player I've always liked, Ravi Bopara. I think he's another sort of victim for England in a way that he was asked to bat number 3 in 2009. He was never really at number 3, and he's wildly talented, I think, and good to see him still going and still a vital cog in the Essex wheel. Him and Tender Scarter are two redoubtable competitors, I'd say. So yeah, I think they'd be very important.
And don't forget, we have the original Ravi Bopara jingle primed and ready for when he comes into action.
Do
I
we
look forward to
indeed?
hearing this.
Oh, it's an absolute classic. It is an absolute classic. He is not coming out to open though. One man who I'm sure who is going to be this man. And indeed, we've got the other fella as well.
You can't hurt me. Wesley and I are joined by the bonds of love. And you cannot
Is
track
this
that.
Twilight?
Not
No.
with 1,000 bloodhounds.
Princess Bride.
Oh,
And you cannot break it. Not
oh,
with
of course it
1,000
is.
swords.
Yes, yeah.
And when I say you are a coward, that is only because you are the slimiest weakling ever to crawl the earth.
Yes.
Tremendous
But
film.
that's
Princess
tremendous
Bride.
motivational music
You
for the
killed
batsman out
my father or brother?
You kill my father.
You killed my father.
My name
Prepare
is
to
Inigo
die.
Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. And then that actor, who's called Sal something, went on to play that part in Homeland.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
You know,
that.
the
yeah.
guy, the
Not
old.
familiar with Homeland.
Yeah,
no.
yeah, it's pretty good.
It's after 1989. That's the problem with it.
I love the fact that you're going through. What is it, Blake 7? You're watching it. Or have
I was just
yeah.
just talking to
Yes.
Mike about that just in the warm up to the mascot race.
Now then,
Well, we've got another former English international.
not English.
Well, not English. I'm doing horrible at the moment with the
Oh, I see. I
nationalities
see
there.
what you're doing. Yeah. Very funny.
But with this man.
It's Ravi Rampal.
He's certainly put on a few
He
pounds. since the
certainly
last time
fills
I've
that
seen
kit,
him.
doesn't he, Prolab?
Well, there are a few. Here he comes.
He comes into far right of over. This delivery just forward of a length, and he just guides it out towards third man for a single. Decent start. Just the pitch, not a lot of bounce in that first delivery. It was a bit full, but it has already slowed down from.
It's
the last
going to be
delivery.
pretty slow by innings number 6 in this final, I
Yep.
think.
Which is going to be interesting. The spinners coming to play, the slower medium paces, the change of pace become even more important.
Well, people like Mulaney in the previous game, you weren't sure what to classify them as. They're bowling in that no man's land of 70 miles an hour, which is too quick for spin and too slow for seam.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that Dobb has a very important part to play in 2020 cricket.
Maybe too important.
Well, yeah. Yeah, Rampal. I'd love to go for a pint with him. I mean, it looks like he enjoys
quite
one.
a few as he runs into bowler's delivery, and this is just pushed back for no run. No slips in place at the very start. Have a point, a bit of a packed offside field at the moment, but relatively standardised outside of that no slip, which sometimes you do see in the opening over to the T20.
Yeah, I don't know if there's sort of lavish sideways movement on this pitch. It's maybe a bit up and
Didn't
down.
seem to be.
A bit sticky, but yeah. You might have one in early doors, yeah. Have a little look.
No, you wonder after this ball.
As Robbie Rampal trundles in, his big frame comes in, his delivery just takes a bit of a wind-up, but just finds that mid-wicket. A direct hit may have got him there, but he's missed the stumps there, sort of threw the ball into the ground and it sort of ambles off to the stumps, so that'll be good to see on the replay, because I'd say a direct hit would have got him there.
I think he hit the batsman, actually, with that ball, which is usually a good sign that he would have been in. I was going to say, obviously players were practicing, and these players were practicing and warming up while the first game was going on. Do you think they had an analyst or someone watching the game and having a look at the pitch?
I'd say so.
You'd hope so,
With
yeah.
the professionalism that the T20 Blast has these days, from the original inaugural days of the opening T20, as Robbie Rampal comes in, just pushed out towards short wicket for no run.
Tom Wesley coming off the back of a Championship 100, which I think was his first Championship 100. Annoyingly for Somerset fans, helped Essex to what might turn out to be a pivotal win in the Championship. And my hope for today, because I've backed Derbyshire to win this whole thing today, is that Essex as a club will be more focused on the Championship than on today, but who knows?
Who knows right there. Well, I think right now the players on the field will be well inclined to win this game if they can, as Robbie Rampal comes in and Wesley, it's a wide delivery, just down the leg side. Umpire kind of hesitates for a second just to see if a bye was given, but the keeper did manage to gather in the end, just the single there.
Wide.
Our very own Mike Yates says anything can happen in the next half hour is a line from Stingray, so that supports Linux Lear's earlier.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but I'm leaning towards that. Yes.
Said by Commander Sam Shaw, says Mike.
As Robbie Rampal, a bit of a shortened run-up from his international days, comes into bowl. His delivery is just pushed out, guided towards third man, and they'll run through for a single. They could look to push for two, but they don't. It's just an easy single there.
And Linux Lear, as she often does, puts me right on the name of that actor who played both Inigo Montoya and your man from Homeland. His name is Mandy Patinkin, and he played the alien in the James Caan movie Alien Nation that spawned a great TV series starring Gary Graham. We were talking about In the V earlier with Alex Hales, and that reminded me of the classic,
Classic
70s
series V.
which was brilliant and
Remember
quite frightening.
Yes, remember the twins, and one baby had a forked tongue.
As
didn't
Rampal comes in his last delivery, a slow delivery that's just driven out towards a deepish mid for one run.
Yeah, this woman had been impregnated by the alien, and they thought, oh, what's going to happen? And the first baby comes out looking normal,
God,
and then it
yeah.
goes, shh, and it's got a forked tongue. And everyone goes, oh, that's pretty scary. But no, and then there's twins, and the other one is a total alien going, bleh.
Yeah, and wasn't there one where someone goes back to her, so they basically disguised themselves as humans, didn't they,
Yes.
these aliens, and then one of them goes back to, I think, her room, rips off her human face and dangles a live rat into her mouth.
Which, of course, you could do in the crowd at T20 Finals Day, and no one would bat an
perfectly
eyelid.
Absolutely, perfectly fine. Essex none for five after first over, with this man coming up to bowl.
Who we think, well, we haven't got a
Well, we-
jingle for everybody, but we do think this man should really have been in the mascot race. It's Logan Van Beek. See what I did there?
Knuckles saying that we do have a jingle
do.
for him.
Oh, we do. Okay.
Apparently.
Oh, yes, we do. Thank you.
Van Beek, I know what you're bowling. It's a hard cricket ball, so don't hit me 'cause it hurts.
Delivery is clipped down the ground, past mid wicket for one bounce towards boundary for four. So it was
Now
so
that,
it was a leg side delivery to start off with, but with the stance that the batsman had, he just eased it over the infield for four. It was beautifully played.
that Van Beek jingle, a bit of an homage to the Dane Pete jingle, and about the same level of tunefulness, I would suggest.
Oh, Dane Pete was famously untuneful, wasn't it?
A great start
Indeed.
there from Delpoy. Van Beek will want to come from that. When you get hit for the first ball, you do want to come back strong. And this next delivery is a short delivery. Again, just sort of hitting in towards the body. Very leg side-ish. But the reason why he's bowling there is Delport's got a sort of almost a leg stump stance at the moment, which means you can afford to be a bit more leg side-ish towards him.
It's certainly his plan, isn't it? Not to give him any width outside off and get him to free his arms up,
And
unjail his arms.
yeah. It didn't work their first delivery. I think he just was a bit too full for that one, so it was easy for him to freeze hand just down the leg side. But I do get the plan. The plan does make sense if you can cramp him up for room. And he's down the track again. It's a top edge, straight up in the air. Is there a fielder under it? No, it's fall between three fielders and a comical fall as well through one of them. That will be 2 runs. Delport moves to 8, but in a pure comedy fashion, the ball has gone straight up in the air and fallen between in that perfect Bermuda triangle of 3 people right in the middle. And Essex, luck's on their side at the moment.
I'll tell you what,
it's going
though,
well.
I'll tell you what, though. I bet Van Beek gives the batsman some chirp after
Hey! Come on. Leo wonders why Essex are not opening with T20 Centurion and heartthrow opener Sir Mascara Boy. Alistair Cook. Because that would be silly.
Crazy.
That'd be crazy. I mean, it's maybe for the 100. Let's having him for that. As it comes to this delivery, just to defend it very calmly back the front foot, and we'll scamper through for a single,
Do you
bringing
think?
Wesley to strike.
Do you think Alistair Cook is here watching or off on the farm killing things? Is it killing season on the farm at the moment?
Yeah.
Pretty much every season's killing
Every
season.
season's killing
isn't it?
season.
And Mike Yates says, if memory serves, the mouse-eating lass in V is Jane Badler. If you've done that without the help of Google, Mike, then I doff my notional cap to you.
I mean, does Yahoo count, or is that sort of just forgotten about these days?
Ask Jeeves, anyone?
Actually, I see it was Alta Vista as that man keep comes into ball, delivery is just a clipped, but he'll find the fielder at short mid-on, and they will scamper through for a single.
I've started to use a search engine called Ecosia, because their big thing is all the searches. The more searches that go through their machine, the more trees they plant.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it's pretty good. I think they basically just sort of mirror Google, but it's not quite as good as Google.
Do you feel like it's one of those websites that
Yeah.
would crash at some point if too many people got onto it and they had to plant too many trees?
They planted millions of trees according to their website, so I think, well, I may as well. It's only a search engine, isn't it?
I'm still on my 300 hours with AOL.
As Beek comes to this last delivery, is a slow ball back of the length that's just cut out towards the field for a single, and a reasonably productive over there. 9 coming off it. Essex moved to none for 14 after their 2.
Rather worryingly on Crick Tracker, Annie Chave says, I see you, Grubby. All right, Annie. Good to be there. What else have we got? Battery Low says, what the hell are you doing? We're commentating on the cricket, my friend. Thanks for asking. And thank you for being there. Tell your mates and stop being weird. What else have we got? Did anyone watch the Terrible V reboot, says Leah
no.
on tweets, where the alien invaders are a pretty thinly disguised Obama-era Democratic Party that offer universal health care?
Damn those
Conservatives should
aliens.
not be allowed to use allegory.
They're not very good at it, are they?
Funny.
Very
Yes.
funny.
So we've just sort of rebooted all of the other social
As
media
Robbie
bits.
Grumple comes to delivery again, leg side-ish. They've got a clear plan here. To the Derbyshire bowlers to just cramp him up for room, and it just pushes out for a single, bringing Wesley to strike.
So who was starring in that then? James Woods and Roseanne Barr.
James Woods' best performance is surely in Family Guy, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
When,
It was,
when he
brilliant.
makes regular appearances, he's not always in it, but when he is,
Always ends up in a box.
yeah,
He's trapped.
He's
far, far
lured
away.
in with candy, isn't he? So,
He does.
Ooh, a
It's the
piece
same
of candy.
trick. You think
Ooh,
by
a
the
piece of
first time
candy.
around you learn your lesson, but no.
I love that. Woy Woy Pom says, is it too cold to open a window? Never mind Stingray and Thunderbirds. What about Fireball XL5?
As comes in, down the pitch is Wesley, but he just ends up finding a fielder, but they will still run through for a single. So Rumple bowling quite well. None for 7 off his 8 deliveries so far, with a wide throw in and giving that run. But it's been quite economical, and we haven't seen that explosive start from Essex yet. Although with this pitch, what would you say is
I was going to
a
ask
promising
that.
score?
Yeah. Well, they have at least they have had a look at the first game, and they've seen 145 and 144 or
Yeah.
whatever it was. They might think, we can get around 160. Might be a better score than it looks.
Yeah, it's a short delivery that's pulled out one bounce to the fielder for a run. Didn't have full eyes on it, but he did put his bat down, which meant it didn't carry to the fielder. And Wesley moves to 4.
Our friend or friends, Armchair Cricket Podcast, says, great to hear Guerrilla Cricket is covering finals day. Yes, we are, as you can hear. Was listening to that other radio broadcast previously. By the way, Van Beek would be pronounced more like Van Beek. Yes, we're aware of that.
Spoil my
We're aware of that. We just like...
Yes, I was aware of that as well.
Yes, we like the beak thing, though, so we're going to probably stick with that. As per Dutch or Afrikaans. But keep the beak puns coming. No problem.
Ravi Rumpel runs in. This delivery is just a shot out, lifts its back lift, and one bounce to the boundary 4. It's sort of the shot that you'd go, maybe it'd end up being a 6, but actually just falls just short of that. And that'll be 4 runs out towards mid-wicket.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Got into position relatively early with that shot.
I think
just
he
picked
might-
the length of the ball and just shifted his stance and just helped it on its way.
Looking at the bottom of his bat after he hit that, with the sort of suggestion, I thought that was going for 6.
Agree. So did I when he first hit it. This Dexter was just defended off the front foot, but they'll run through for a quick single.
Just about get through. I'm going to be playing a not dissimilar game to this tomorrow, not
Oh,
to
yeah.
the same standard, obviously, but I'm playing a T20 with 4 teams and
Okay.
2 teams playing first and then the winners
crikey.
playing each
The,
other. and
the big
whatnot.
question, a direct hit may have got him there in that last one, but the big question is, will there be a mascot race in the
Oh, I
middle
hope
of
so.
it?
I hope so. Yeah.
What would be your favourite
Yeah.
mascot there, Andy?
My favourite mascot.
No, if you had to be a mascot.
If I had, that's a bit different. If I had
It
to
is.
be a mascot,
We'll leave that with you.
Kind
We'll
of.
leave it with you.
Can I? Do I have to be an animal? Can your
No.
mascot
No,
be,
you can be
like
anything
a,
you wanted.
be
You
like
can be a block
of flats
be
if you want.
like a mad
Exactly.
professor?
As Ravi Rumpel's last delivery, it's well bowled again, just short of a length, and he'll just clipped out, and they'll run through for a single. Essex moved to 23 with that loss after the 3 overs.
You're probably not allowed to be Linford Christie, the mascot, though.
No. Do you remember Dr. Wolfgang Schnell from Billy the
Yeah.
Fish?
Oh, yes. Yes.
This guy who was a professor, and they would say things like, he only has to differentiate the angle and the shot's on. I quite liked his look because he wore a lab coat and football boots and 3 pairs of glasses on his head.
I love the advertising and some of the grounds at Billy the Fish. It would be eat food,
That's right.
drink beer, shit in your
smoke
bog.
tabs.
How about you, Grubby? Have you got a preferred mascot if you had to dress up as one?
If I had to be a mascot, I think I would go as something Victorian with a heavy worsted coat.
Okay, we've had a change in the bowling. We've got this man coming on to bowl.
our
Mr. Hudson Prentice.
jingles don't quite extend to Finn
Okay,
Hudson Prentice.
that is okay. This is a straight hit, straight down the ground. He's greeted with a lovely straight drive for 4.
That would be quite a challenge, a jingle for Finn Hudson Prentice.
You're fired.
Exactly. I was going to say the apprentice.
That's it.
Something like that would have to be
yeah,
into it.
yeah.
Done. Next. Mike from next door says he's got a brain full of stuff like that. Female sci-fi baddies I fancied.
I'm sure Serverland.
Let's see what Delport has in store for Prentice this time. Again, a bit of a swing of the bat, but this time it doesn't go where he wants, and he'll just find a fielder out towards score leg for a single.
I'm worried about our colleague Annie Chave's eyesight because she's sent a message into the Crick Tracker platform just saying hello bear.
Okay, not sure which
I
one
mean,
of us that is.
We can try and pass that on for you.
Yeah. Well, who bears the greatest? Maybe your mascot should be bear. Just come and dress as a bear.
Or dressed as the bear.
The bear, yeah.
Still
Just
up.
a dirty T-shirt and a beer in one hand, a pair of Chicago shorts.
Hudson Prentice runs into bowl. This next delivery is just slightly shorter of a length and good adjustment there from Wesley, but he'll run through for a single and he moves to 10 as he clips it towards mid-wicket.
And Khalil Hussain has sent us an impossibly cute little image of a teddy bear waving in front of a rainbow.
Oh, wow. That's really good.
That's sweet. Thanks, Khalil. Thanks for being there. You know this is cricket commentary. I mean, you may know that. Maybe that's the mascot that you would wish to be. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Cutesy bear.
Cutesy bear. Have a Princeton. He's got a bit of a headband in play as well. Just keep it sort of a nice delivery, a wide
bolt.
Yorker that just defeats the batsman. Delport sort of moved outside towards leg stump, which means it was even further away from him than it should have been. He ends up missing the ball completely, but well bowled from Prentice there. Nice stuff.
We've been deprived of some head bandage in this game, haven't we? Because Adam Zampa's been dropped from the 11.
Yeah. It's surprising. I'd say you need a headband 11. I mean, headbands are where the future is at. Just
Dennis
keep
Lilly.
Yep.
The headband 11. Come on.
Completely. This is beautifully played. He just squares it off, straight drive over the bowler's head, perfectly straight, and he's stuck in that position for a while for what has been the best boundary so far. So just on the front foot, that's honestly is the best shot I've seen today.
Yeah.
Well, in both the innings in the previous game, they got off to quite a quick start. They had Mo in one innings and Alex Hales in the other, playing some nice shots, and then it just seemed to get slower and slower.
Another straight drive. So this is a low full toss. Well, it was an attempted Yorker that just converts into a low full toss. That it's again driven down the ground for another 4. Great over there for Essex. So that's the man with the headband hit for 3 boundaries, all down the ground this over.
Yeah,
None for 37 after 4.
He's not making our headband 11 at the moment.
No,
is he?
not at all. No
Dennis Lilly is
chance.
first name on the list, obviously. Did Carl Hooper used to wear a headband under his headgear when he batted? Sometimes.
Didn't
Be nice because I want him in the team.
I know. Gale used to
Did
wear
Lara, yeah.
used to wear a
It's a bandana.
Bandana.
Yeah, that's not a headband though. He doesn't
That's
get
true.
in.
He's got to play the
Doesn't
bandana
qualify.
11.
What about Chanderpaul? I'm sure some of those West Indian batsmen used to wear headbands when they batted.
Batted. We've got Van Beek.
You've
The
got
bowler's
that
taken over.
Afghani fast bowler.
Ah, yes, you're right.
Send in your headband 11, please,
Headband
everyone.
11.
We've
Who
got
would be
Dennis
in it?
Lilly as a lock. The rest of it's up for grabs.
As Van Beek runs into bowl. Short of a length, beaten outside the off stump. Just misses a bat. And he's bowling the right length here. I think the error Mr. Headband made last over is there is no protection down the ground. The mid-on and mid-off is quite wide. And he's bowling this lovely drivable length deliveries. And especially with Delport using his feet quite well, it means he can convert those full deliveries or short of a length into full tosses or half volleys, which he just frees his arms up and hits it straight down the ground.
Yeah, he had, as they say, just lined him up and he was bowling relatively line and length, wasn't he?
Yeah. Mid-on and mid-off has moved a few steps back though now, and this is just a cutaway towards mid-on for a single. Batting quite well. They're founding the boundaries, and they're also making sure they're getting off strike rather quickly as well.
Leah has put us in touch with a very fine analysis and review of the 80s V over on sfdebris.com, so I've retweeted that, should you be interested. Armchair Cricket Podcast says, is Rampal a bit chunkier or what? But the pace is still up there. And he's hashtag not fat shaming. Nope.
I felt that Samit Patel jingle was flat shaming, somewhat. We're not going to hear it again today.
Certainly not Mr. Van Dijk with a very nice haircut actually, and this delivery is just a short ball outside the leg stump that's just pulled away past the fine leg for 4.
Okay, so Adam Zampa, who has been playing in this competition for Essex this year, has returned to Australia to play for South Australia in the Australian Domestic One Day Cup. Didn't realise that. Thank you, Knuckle, for that.
Wow.
And also headbands. Knuckle suggests Jack Brooks, David Willey,
Oh, yes.
or Nathan Bracken.
Oh, of course, Nathan Bracken was
nice.
absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant.
he's
His delivery is, he just checks his shot one bounce short of the fielder. So another relatively full delivery, which Delport was keen to hit down the ground, but he ends up checking his shot last minute, and it just falls just short of the mid-on fielder.
Our friend Julia Farman, MBE no less, says, great to hear that you're covering 2020 Finals Day for everyone outside of the UK listening today. Much love, Jules. P.S. Go Essex. Well,
Go
they've started
Essex.
pretty well here, Jules, so you'd be happy with that.
Brilliant start there. Wesley on strike as Mr. Van Dijk comes in, and it's a bit of an in cutter. First bit of movement I've seen from him all day. It was a nice in cutter that surprises Wesley and just ends up defending it back towards him, and he hastily grabs it and is follow through.
Now, Leah, in full anticipation of a load of German and Swedish coming my way, and I don't want to take you to task again about apostrophes. It's happened before. But James Woods doesn't have an apostrophe in it anywhere. He's just called James Woods.
Very few people have apostrophes in their name, apart from the D apostrophe.
It should go after
like
the S if you're
Darcy
talking about his
Short.
finest performance, though. Yes.
This delivery rises up on Wesley, but he pulls it away, and he will towards cow corner, but they'll run through for a second. Some good batting there from Wesley, but so far Van Beek has been bowling really well after Rumpel being a bit of a bit of an onslaught in that last over.
Yeah, Van Beek started off a little bit ropily, didn't he? But
his first over went for about 13. This
Van
one's
Beek.
been 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But it's been going reasonably well there. None for 17 off his 2.
Anyway, so Leah was talking about James Woods' finest performance. Surely must be John Carpenter's excellent vampire neo-western Vampires. I do like a cross-genre film, like
From Dusk Till Dawn.
From
is
Dusk Till
surely
Dawn is
the
exactly what I'm
classic
finding.
example.
I'm thinking about. Yeah.
I'll give you James Wood's story if you like,
Oh, please do.
from my personal experience.
Oh, yes.
I was talking to, I was in Vegas around the World Series of Poker, and I was talking to Neil Channing, who anyone with the slightest interest in poker
Yep.
will know, and Neil knows everybody.
Sensei Channing.
Yep, as Prentice comes in again.
As he comes into bowl, we'll continue this. Keeper up the stump. Now this is edge past the keeper. And we'll find the boundary that he's just moved to the stumps there. And you'd say if he was behind, he might have caught that. But nonetheless, we'll see on the replay if it was deliberate or not. But I'd say it's a genuine edge. And this replay, it does show it's a completely genuine edge. Did not intend it. 4 runs.
So I was just talking to Neil, and James Woods comes up, and he says, "Oh, Neil, I have to tell you about this hand." And he says, "All right, I'll catch up with you in a minute, James. I'm just talking to my friend."
As we'll continue this after his next delivery. And
He
this
really
delivery
did.
Just cuts into the batsman. And he will run through for
Imagine
a
anyone
single
else saying that
teleport
to-
off strike.
Imagine anyone else saying that to James Woods. And such is Neil's standing in the world of poker, James Woods just goes, "Oh, yeah, I will," and then walks off.
Well, I know it's not actually him in Family Guy, not least because it's a cartoon, but apparently the character is sort of based on him, and he's difficult to work with. He's a slightly unusual character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And he steals Peter's identity. I remember one episode.
he
just,
does.
completely does it.
It's very disturbing.
As Britain comes in, Wesley kind of moves across the stumps, but ends up missing the ball completely. Hits his pad, so there'll be no run there. Well bowled.
Armchair Cricket Podcast, just keeping us abreast of the Afghanistan score, which I've retweeted. Cosmic Chris says, "I'm imagining you yelling Delport like Villa in Hostage." Niche references abound. And Armchair Cricket Podcast, some entries for your Headband 11. Srisant and Chris Martin.
Yep. Yes, Srishant, who's actually the life ban recently just got overturned. He's free to play cricket from next year. As a bit of a wind-up from Wesley, but he'll just run through for a single 51, none 51 now, Essex, the move past 50 of that last delivery.
On what grounds? Just people thought he'd suffered enough, or was there a change in the
No, it's a change
verdict?
in, it was more the court verdict. I think they came to the conclusion that based on the evidence that a life ban wasn't reasonable, or the definition of a life ban, it couldn't be one that could preclude you from playing in domestic and local leagues.
Okay.
So I think it was also an interesting one because the courts never found him guilty. It's more the BCCI found him guilty. And it's the leg side delivery that's flicked over fine legs egg for 4.
Easy 4 there, poor bowling.
Shocking delivery.
Number fans will be pleased to know Essex are 55 for naught off 5.5.
Oh, lovely. That's
that.
number Wang.
Exactly.
Jules, our friend Jules, says Hamid Hassan for Afghanistan as the headband
That's the one.
in the headband 11. Meanwhile, Mike from next door is putting forward Desmond Haynes, Martin Crowe, and Ramnaresh Sarwan. Pretty good middle order, that.
That is a good middle order. Yeah,
Well,
very good team.
You know, opening batsman and a couple of middle order batsmen. Love Desmond Haynes.
As comes this next delivery again, back of the length, well bowled. We'll just find the mid on field, the run through for a single. Another one there, Ishan Sharma pre-haircut. Had a... Oh no,
Yeah.
he never...
Well,
no,
Ishan's
he
always
never
had
actually
quite-
had one. He just had long hair.
He never had a
refused to use
haircut,
it.
no.
He's a guy who should have had a headband, but he didn't end up using one in the end.
I've,
well,
enjo-
he probably rightly felt he wouldn't get in the team, so there was no point.
Yep.
I've enjoyed his tonsorial efforts over the years, though. Ishant. Woy Woy Pom, ever the voice of cheer and brightness, says 4 of Blake's 7 are dead, as is Servalan. I can almost hear the sigh as he wrote that
So,
tweet.
Yeah, Jacqueline Pearce quoted as saying, I was the insert your own word, fantasy for thousands and thousands of teenage boys. I'm pretty happy with that.
Who said that, sorry?
It's Jacqueline Pearce, who's
Oh, right.
Servalan.
Ah, there we are. Seth Rance. Who's that? Does anyone know who Seth Rance is?
It rings a bell somewhere, yeah.
That's Armchair Cricket Podcast. Has
And
said
we've
that.
got another change in the bowling. Alex Hughes
Let's have a
comes to
look,
bowl.
see if we've got Alex Hughes. Nope.
That's okay. We'll
Hughes, sorry now we could do.
Yeah,
Who knows
they've got. I want to talk about this. They're on a treadmill and they're running and running and they never get there, which is a bit like one of my dreams. You're running to try to get in and you just never get
That's
to
a
the
classic
wicket.
dream, isn't it?
Classic.
Yeah, with pink bats, and they got headbands on as well.
A delivery, he just runs into ball, keeper up to the stumps again. So it seems really just to avoid Delport using his feet, which has been quite strong in two, but he just pushes out and will get a single out towards long off.
Yeah, it's Key and Trescothic on the old hamster wheel there. I think you're going to speed it up a bit and make them puff and pant.
Yeah, I'm just surprised at that. You kind of go like, it's got to be a purpose behind. They've got bats and they're running along, and it gets faster and faster. At what point do they fall? Because that would be quite hilarious. Hughes comes into bowl, his deliveries will just short of the long on fielder there. Or he's sort of like in a half house position here. He's not at mid on, but he's also not towards the boundary. He's somewhere 3/4 of the way. But it falls just short of him.
There's much hilarity here as the pink-clad Key and Trescothic are being put through
Now
their paces on this massive treadmill.
Gladiator each other with their bats.
With their bats trying to hit each other to knock him over, which
It'd be quite dangerous, I thought.
yeah, I would think so too. This delivery is a wide delivery. He's just cut out straight to the fielder, and that's just poor batting there from Delport. I've never understood that in T20 cricket. You're getting a free hit, which is a wide ball out the
This is going to end in tears.
or leg side. Just leave it alone. You get an extra ball, you get a run. There's
That's
no
correct.
point, unless you're sure you're going to hit it for a 4 or 6. Just leave it.
A couple of injuries to the first team for Somerset, and Tresco might be required this coming week for the pivotal championship deciding game. So don't get too mad.
Another wide delivery that just loops. He just gets at the toe end of the bat, and he'll run through for a single out in the cover region. Wesley moves to 15.
He's been the junior partner. He's got 15 off 15. Delport 43 off 25. Yeah. But with a few extras, they've got 59 in the 7th for no loss. Good platform.
Very
for
healthy.
It is
very healthy.
I mean, especially when we're talking about what could be a winning total. I mean, their start certainly laid the platform for them to go a lot harder in these next 6 or 7 overs. As it's just cut out. Oh, cut out past the fielder and in misfield. Just goes straight through his hands. He'll recover though. It'll only cost a run. If he was a bit close to the boundary, that could have gone for 4. But that is, a bit of a lapse in judgment.
Did that skip off?
Derbyshire?
That wasn't going very fast.
No, did it skip off one of the wheels? I'm trying to find an excuse for him. It didn't look like it
I
much.
think there's no excuses. He just...
He's going to see it again.
Let's have a look at this replay. And he's literally...
it did
bounce.
It
bounced, right? So there was an
yeah.
excuse. It bounced off something. And he just misjudged that bounce or didn't see it or anticipate it. As this delivery just clipped out. One bounce between the two fielders through mid-wicket for 4.
Expecting a change at this point. Here we come.
And
It's Tony.
it's Tony. So Essex none for 65 after 7 overs. Bit of a change in the commentary now.
What else is happening?
I think we're flipping. We're flipping, Andy.
Okay. Oh, you're going to switch. Okay. Well, Tony, can you... okay, I'll put a little music on. Yeah.
Yep. You owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills. So please, go to patreon.com/GorillaCricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/GorillaCricket.
Pay me what you want it.
Obey Rihanna and pay us on Patreon. That one's clubbed out towards Cow Corner. 2 fielders converge. Should be 2. It's going to be a comfortable 2 for Delport as Critchley comes into the attack.
No jingle for that one, so we will continue without the jingle for now.
But thank you very much to everyone, all our jinglers who helped us out with a couple of these players. Reverse from Delport, and it's got it over short third man and bounce away towards the Sky Sports pod for another 4. So Delport playing a key role here. He's got that one, over short third man. Can he, I believe, no one's ever scored 100 on T20 Finals day. Can he be the first man to do that?
Could be.
Critchley is in again. He's certainly got halfway there because he's clipped that one into the leg side. And he'll get a comfortable single to take him to 50.
Well batted there.
They're very heavily tattooed, Cameron Delport.
50 runs, 50 runs, well done, well done. Well done, well done. 50 runs. Your 50 runs.
Wajahat Hussein says hi to us on YouTube. So
Hello.
does Ayash Daya. Hi.
Critchley is coming in, steps across. Wesley goes for the big hit. I'm not sure how far it's gone. Not that far. It bounces in front of the fielder. They'll pick up one. I've found the ball a little bit difficult to pick up today, and it's just because it's bright.
Yeah, no, same thing. Very bright sky, a lot of shadows. Rubbish telly.
Critchley coming in. And back goes Delport. They can see that one, but the fielder can't quite get there. Throws out a hand, misses it. 4 more, and Essex are really taking off here.
Now my innings going, great guns, I hit the ball, 4 runs, I hit the ball, and it went for 4 runs.
Hit that one directly over the square leg umpire's head. Deep backward square, was too backward to get there.
They seem to have lost all semblance of a plan that they had in place in the opening few overs.
Yeah, that can happen. Oh, that's a horrible ball, and he's managed to... Sometimes the ball is so bad that you get away with it. It was short down leg, as Pralab was saying. It was easy wide if he'd left it, but he would have fancied 4 off that one. He did drill it straight to the fielder for 1.
Linux Leah says Cook's career average, high score and strike rate in T20s are actually better than Root's. Hashtag I shit you not. That's interesting.
Well, he might have played more domestic T20s than Root. We're seeing a few highlights, not missing a few highlights from camera at Delport.
Armchair Cricket Podcast says Seth Rance has played for New Zealand recently. I remember seeing this bald fast bowler in a headband.
Ah, headband. Okay.
A bold ball and a headband.
Durban Oak says I was at Brisbane Jazz Club tonight. Very pleasant. Half the audience looked like cats sitting hendo.
Delport 55 off 30. He's got time to get that 100. It shouldn't be what he's thinking of. Keeper standing up to Hughes. Skies it away into the offside. He hasn't got all of it. And he's out.
He's gone.
That's the jinx from me. Caught by Rees. And Delport is gone for 55. And that's the first wicket for the Derbyshire Falcons. The Falcons versus the Eagles. Should be a pretty even contest.
It would be. I mean, even that mascot battle would be an interesting one. But that was a crucial wicket. Absolutely needed something going their way after it's been all Essex outside of that first over.
Yes, indeed. And now you might, if you're lucky, get the chance to play the fantastic Ravi Bapara jingle. But we will wait to see if he is indeed next.
I think it might depend on what type of falcon and what type of eagle.
I thought you were going to say it depends on Essex's strategy for this innings.
No.
It's not.
You think the Eagles would win, right? Although
a peregrine falcon against a golden eagle, you wouldn't want to.
It's a closer one than some of the football matchups, like the Lions versus the Canaries. Only one winner there. It is actually going to be Dan Lawrence.
It is Dan Lawrence. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it will be Dan Lawrence.
Another highly rated young player. And he's got a good platform to work off. Essex 78 for 1 in the 8th over. 9th over just started.
He's going to be looking all the way around just to see if he can... Well, it's going to be interesting to see who takes the aggressor role now.
Yes, it is, but straight away with the cover drive, it's a misfield, but I don't think they're going to get one anyway. Nope. Yes, you'd think Westley would now step it up a bit after being out there for 8 overs. Delport, you can see, just reaching for that one a little bit. Didn't get all of it, and a fairly comfortable catch. A long off moving around to his right. Hughes in again. It's another dobby ball. We've seen plenty of them today. That one's to cover's right hand. They should be through for a single that time. Not sure, actually.
They're not taking that.
Did they not get one there?
Yeah, that's surprising.
Because
I would say, especially in T20 cricket, with everyone sort of backing up and being to the right of the fielder, I guess maybe they're waiting to see if it was going to be a clean pickup or not in case there was a chance of a run out. But I would have thought there'd be a single on there.
I'm still not sure if they did or they didn't. I think maybe they did. Lawrence is now on strike. Yeah, they must have done.
Okay,
yeah,
so they have. So I retract every statement I made about that. They took that single. They did the basics of cricket well.
Lawrence is on strike, steps across and tips it into the leg side, but mid-wicket is very close and there's no run.
Became the third youngest batsman to make a championship century, did Dan Lawrence. He was, when he struck 161 for Essex against Surrey at the Oval in 2015, he was 17 and 290 days.
Not even out of school.
Not even out of school officially.
That's a short ball and it's a late cut. The fielder is there. They do get through for a single. Ravi Rampal on with the fielding.
And he's averaging close on 28 in T20s overall. And he hit 147. Oh yes, indeed, for Essex against Surrey in the first class game. There it was, at Chelmsford this year.
Yep, he's a
Phenomenal effort.
highly rated young player. See what he does with this one. In fact, he's not on strike. Wesley, another. He was once a highly rated young player. I suppose he still is, but he has fallen out of favour a little bit after those 2 tests. He gets a single. It's 81 for 1 off 9.
I know, it was a big of pegging out. It's the whole thing in T20 cricket. That wicket just changes that momentum, because suddenly they've gone from hitting 4s and being, with just being on the front foot to going, now they have to think about where the next run's coming from, the next boundary's coming from.
Yes, certainly Delport didn't seem to have a problem finding the boundary, and he was being the aggressor of the 2 batsmen. So it was a good wicket for Derbyshire to take.
Hugely important, wasn't it?
But this game already is looking like Essex will post a better total than the 146 that was successfully defended somehow by Worcestershire. In comes the next over. Down the track goes the batsman. He's hit it wide of cover. Diving stop. Well fielded. They should get back for 2, and they do. That was 2 for Wesley off the bowling of Cartwright? I'm not sure. Critchley, yes.
Critchley there, he's in for his second over. Copped a bit of flick so far, but...
That would have been off Delport, to see if he can put a bit of a break on it now. Possibly not. Swung away into the leg side. It beats wide mid-on, and that's going to be another 4, and it does look like Wesley is going to step up to the aggressor role.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Fat bloke in the stands felt he could have fielded that.
Probably had more girth to field with. He could have done it without moving from the same starting point.
So Critchley's in again, leg spin over the wicket. Again uses his feet, but drills that one straight to cover, and there's no run.
Although it's interesting seeing a lot of the fielders out in the deep, not actually on the boundary. They're a few steps in, which does give him a bit of less time to actually field that delivery.
A little bit. They're obviously there to save the 2. That's a wider ball, and it might pay off because he hasn't got all of it. It's in the air, but it's in the gap. And that fielder, as you say, is 5-10 yards in. He does get round to cut it off, and they'll come back for 2. Certainly, I think it's fair enough. There's some people, any time a ball goes above a fielder, they say you should have been on the line. But any time a fielder runs in and it falls short, they never say you should have been 5 yards closer. It does work both ways.
It does.
Critchley's in. Very full ball, and it's driven out to backward point. There should be a run. There is.
I do like how Critchley's tossing the ball up.
Yeah, he's giving it some air.
He's relying on the batsman to move forward, and so far, they have been willing to use their feet. But yeah, it's good. It's brave cricket from him, and he's doing really well.
Well, he has gone for a few runs, but there's always, as you say, he's keeping a wicket in play. Going to complete the second over, and again, batsman uses his feet. Bit of a thick edge, down to short third man, end of the over. Halfway point, Essex are 91 for 1.
Interesting there. So the halfway point, 91 for 1. Not sure what the exact rule is on T20 cricket, but you go that they should at least double that, if not higher.
At least.
So you'd end up with close to the 200 mark, which I'd say would be a winning total on this pitch.
From what we've seen so far, but then again, what we have seen is both innings fall off rather. But that was, Worcestershire lost wickets, and they were 7 down after about 14 overs. Whereas Notts, I felt, just seemed to be a little bit casual with their chase. They just figured, someone will hit some runs at some point, and they never quite got it down to a runner ball, except when they needed 11 off 2. They needed 26 off 3. They got 15 off the 18th over, and perhaps thought the job was done, but turned out it wasn't. That's why they're on the coach home, and Worcestershire have their feet up for this final. Anyway, Hughes is back in. Big swing by Lawrence. Has that gone far enough? No, and it plugs a little bit, and the fielder comes round, and May only just got 1 there. Good bit of fielding.
Just very good, though, at finding the gaps in the field, aren't they? Even when they've lofted it up in the air.
Yes, well, they're targeting that gap between mid-wicket and long on, which is a good thing to do whether you catch all of it or not. But they'll possibly be disappointed and get 2 there. Perhaps they were expecting a boundary. Yeah, should have got 2 there. That one's flicked up towards square leg. Again, it hasn't gone far enough. And again, the fielder comes in, Dahl, and that will be another single.
Lennox Leah is responding, I think, to our Rihanna jingle. She said, if I reached into my pocket and threw some cash your way, it would land on the lawn below my balcony. I have to go all the way around the house to pick it up. Also, my dress doesn't have pockets, so there's that.
Never a fan of
no excuse.
clothes without pockets in general, though.
Essex, 93 for 1 as Hughes comes in again. Wide, slashed away, that's going to be out.
It is out.
That's going to be out. It's just inside the tram line. It was a bit of a slash from Lawrence. He got a thick edge and a very comfortable catch to Critchley at short third man. And that's the second wicket of the innings.
On your bike, mate.
There was some variety of slower ball from the front of the hand, and Lawrence was just a little bit early on the shot and got a thickish edge down to third man. Now, this could be your chance to unload the Ravi
that
Bopara
moment,
jingle.
it's a nice long jingle, and I'm looking forward to hearing it because I don't think I've heard this jingle before.
No, you'd know it if you'd heard it. Knackle says Bopara bats 6, which sounds a bit low to me. Perhaps they'll send him in just so he can play the jingle. That would be nice.
That would be very nice. If you can, if you're listening, Ravi Bopara, just
kick your way
walk
up,
out.
kick the captain, get up the order. It is
and
going to be instead the Dutchman, Ryan ten Doskata. It's an Essex stalwart.
To watch Ryan Tenderscotta bat is always fun. To watch Ryan Tenderscotta bowl is always fun.
Peak 80s jingling there. That's a full ball which is tapped into the leg side, and again mid-wicket is close, so there's no run.
they've really put a clamp down on that run rate in the last 3 overs.
Again, it looked as if Wesley's still there, hasn't had a lot of strike, but he again wants to play the aggressive role. They're still doing pretty well, Essex, especially after what we saw in the first game. That one's gone out to deep cover, be at least 1. Should just be 1, and it is. 94 for 2, 1 ball to go in the 11th over.
Still got Ravi Bopara to come. Still got plenty of sort of hitters who can lift the run rate towards the back end, and you're into the 11th over. You give Tendochi a few balls to do it, but Wesley really just needs to be getting on with it now. He's been in there since the very start, almost half this innings.
Certainly some signs that he was starting to do that. He's on strike again now, but he just taps that one up towards long off. They're running with the intent of getting 2. Are they going to? Nope. And that's the end of the 11th over. It is 95 for 2. Wesley on 35 and Tenderscotta on 1.
Armchair Cricket Podcast says... I've lost it. Falcons versus Eagles, you say, Guerrilla Cricket? Do they do a mid-time Mascot face-off?
Well, we had a race.
I would pay to see that. Well, obviously they did.
And the Falcon was the winner
Yeah.
of the Mascots.
It was a race on land, though. You'd say, the air would be the primary mode of doing it. So they should actually have a parachuting version of this.
That might have been a bit unfair on some of the other mascots, like the crocodiles and the elephants and so on.
Well, you have a water one, like a best of the 3 series.
On land, air and sea, yeah. Lewis Rees is going to come in to bowl for Derbyshire.
And I'll put the jingle after this next delivery.
And he looks like a part-timer from his stats. He's bowling left arm round, about 75 miles an hour. That's clipped up to long on for a single.
Here he is.
61 miles an hour.
What will you do, Mr. Reese?
Show him what a real monster looks like.
What's that from?
It feels like it's something like Men in Blackish, but I'm not sure. I don't think it's Men in Black.
Yeah. Anyway, having a look at the Essex bench, Reese again. He's sort of running.
Well bowled.
Not
close.
a bad shout, and it's gone.
Great delivery.
Again, no pace at all on the ball. 63 miles an hour. There are spin bowlers who bowl quicker than that, but he came round the wicket. It's a weird angle because he's almost running away from the batsman. Then he bowls it back in, and it's clipped the outside of the pad, and Tenderscotta is out. So once again, we're seeing an innings derailed in the middle overs.
Yeah, it just goes to show how important that first wicket is. But also, that first wicket's brought about a change in that momentum, and now 3 quick wickets. And if they can pick up another 1 or 2, it's only that 200 scores looking at maybe 160, 170.
Long way away, yes. certainly a bonus for Rees to pick up a wicket. He had something like 18 wickets in 40 matches on the stats, which is generally the sign of a part-timer, 1 wicket every 2 games. But he's got an important wicket there, and now is your chance, because Ravi Bopara has come in at number 5.
I'm Ravi Bopara. You're listening to testmatchsofa.com. They're not as funny as they think they are.
Well, Ravi Bopara, he's a batter, like Ian Bell but delicater. Ravi Bopara, he's a batter, like Owe Shah but a little bit better. Ravi Bopara, he's a batter and a useful medium pace bowler to have in a limited overs game. Well, he scores.
Here comes Rees. Oh, blocked. Let's have the jingle back up.
He gets just 15. The way he gets out is sometimes obscene, but his kit is always so pristine. Oh, Ravi Bopara, he's so dashing, when on occasion a 6 he's bashing, but mostly stroke play he's a hashing at the crease, at the crease, at the crease.
I love that.
That's good, isn't it? Well, Ravi Bopara is playing in T20 Finals day when OS Shah, also mentioned in that jingle, has just finished his season for Welling Garden City. So who's the winner there? Rees is in again, tipped round the corner, down to long leg, who comes round, and they'll get at least 1. It will just be 1. We also got a shot of that LBW saying that Tendusgarter perhaps a bit unlucky there. I mean, it didn't go to DRS because there's no DRS in this, but the indication was that only about 5% of the ball was in line for impact.
It was still umpire's call on it, so even with DRS it would have been out.
Yes, but it would be one of those where you think, I'm still a bit unlucky that it's actually been given.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, it was a bit of a marginal call on it, but I'd still say it wasn't a horrible call. It's somewhere in the middle.
No, it's not a howler. I mean, as you say, it would have stood up under DRS. We've just seen a graphic saying last 22 balls, 19 runs and 3 wickets. It certainly has slowed down this innings. That one's tapped into the leg side, and it'll be at least 1. It will be just 1. 98 for 3, Essex.
Ravi Bopara and Ryan Tendusgarter made their T20 debuts on the same day, in the same match, in 2003 against Surrey. Interestingly enough, at East Molesey, beautiful cricket club on the river.
Well, it was a long time ago, and Rees comes in again. Bopara punches it up to long off. He'll get a single. It's the end of the over. Essex 99 for 3 off 12. Bit of a slowdown, but I think they're still in a decent position.
Ravi Bopara made a duck. Tendusgarter took 2 for 27, actually. One of whom was Mark Ramprakash, the other one Jonathan Batty. Playing for Surrey that day were Ian Ward, Thorpe, Hollyoake, Ramprakash. And interesting enough, Andy Flower was playing for Essex, got bowled by Tim Murtagh. There you go. That's how long ago that was.
How long ago that was. Andy Flower was still playing, yes.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll talk about this in about 10 years' time with Rees, picking up just a sort of 1 for 2 was his last over, let's say.
Yep. Hughes also in the wickets, 2 for 16 off 3, and pace off has certainly been the way forward today. He comes into Bopara, right arm over. Bopara over the offside. It's a big hit into the space, bounce, and 4 over extra cover.
It's going to be a long afternoon for me in football news. 16 minutes gone. Watford are 5 down at City.
They're what?
5 down.
Are you serious?
No, I'm absolutely serious. If I've gone quiet, it's because I'm close to speechless.
I'll tell you what, if that last cricket game isn't equal, there's still a way for them to come back in this game.
There really isn't. There really isn't, Prala.
Goodness me. Well, my sympathies. I can't even. Is that really?
No, that really is true. Yeah.
Goodness me. Single for Bopara out. Let's change the subject. Single for Bopara out to deep cover. Wesley back on strike. Oh, the ever competitive Premier League.
I played one game of football. I think we lost like 17-0.
Yeah, it's heading that way.
Ease off a bit. Hughes is in again. That one's played out through extra cover, and it's going to be another single. My team QPR just up the road today at Millwall, who will no doubt be up to their old tricks.
We've got this middle period, and this is where it's going to be interesting because I'm sure they'll blast off in the last 5 overs, but this next 2 or 3 overs could be crucial between sort of 180 and 200, and that difference that score makes.
Yes, Bapara wants to get going. Wesley hasn't had a lot of the strike lately. Slower ball, and it's beaten Bapara. He's played outside it. The keeper has asked the question. I'm sure the umpire is going to say no, but he has technically asked the question.
It's a nice in cutter.
Yep,
He's actually he surprised me. He's had a few balls that have just sort of cut in with that change in pace and just cut on a relatively flat pitch, but it's been enough to deceive the batsman on quite a few occasions.
Well,
pick
it
of the bowlers
has,
so
and
far.
about halfway through the first innings today, I stopped talking about slower balls. I should talk about slow balls. There's another one. But Bapara tips it out towards square leg. The umpire lets it go, as indeed he should, and the fielder comes in to keep it 2-1.
Mog asked an interesting question. Would you agree that at one time Tendusgarter was the best limited over player in the world? He wouldn't have been far off it.
Some people were saying that in Donald Trump style, yes. But of course, he didn't get a lot of international game time against the top teams, if any, at one point. Hughes in to complete an excellent spell, and it's not going to be a boundary, it's just clubbed up to long off, and he's going to finish with 2 for 24 of his 4 overs, which is a good day's work by anybody's standards.
And
we're going to have a change.
And I'll just put on a change of commentary.
The best things in life are free. Just like Gorilla Commentary, we need money. That's what I want. /Gorilla Cricket. We need money. I don't like the BBC. I prefer Gorilla Commentary. I want money. $20 for the archive. That's what I want. Or just buy a t-shirt.
Yeah, Mike was just asking how much it cost to subscribe to the Gorilla Cricket Archive, and it is $20 or 20 quid, as we would say, for a year subscription. Reese starting you over around the wicket, and Wesley backs away. Plays it to short extra, there is no run. It's 107 for 3, we've just started the 14th over. It's grubby here in the Central Missionary. Rohin has come in, both to the house and into the tweet seat. Hello, Rohin.
Yes, hey guys. Pleasure to be here as always. I was standing outside the wrong door for 5 minutes.
Oh, good. Glad to see Reese round the wicket, in on the angle, and a sweep here from Wesley. High, wide, but not handsome, as he's caught on the square leg boundary. Bit top edgy there, and having played himself in, and Essex having got themselves off to a very good start, they're now just stumbling a bit, and it's 107 for 4.
Yeah, they were 93 for 1. It's not as much of a slowdown as Worcestershire had, and that's not as bad an innings as who is it for Worcestershire? Ricky Vessels.
Yeah,
Ricky Vessels. But 39 off 34 is eating up a lot of deliveries for not a lot of result.
Well, 200 looked well within Essex's grasp not long ago, and well, hey, they may still get there, but the run rate has dropped to just a tick over 8, whereas before they were rocking on at 9.5. So. There are ebbs and flows, even in 2020 cricket. The peroxided Reese round the wicket, and this is edged down towards third man. This is going to run away quickly for 4 runs.
Beautiful subtlety from Bapara. Yeah, promoted up the order 2-5. Adam Wheater has just come in, who's at the non-strikers, and we'll jingle him up when he gets on strike. But he was batting at 4 in the quarter-final, bumped down the order with Tendusgarter and then Bapara.
And it's 111. Nelson for 4. Bapara back on strike, or stays on strike. Threatens to go leg side. The little dummy nudges this one into the leg side as it's angling towards his body. Come back for a pretty sharp 2. But 2 it is. 113 for 4 now. Rohin, what have you got there on tweets and other things social?
So not much on YouTube at the moment, except a comment
us.
from Wajahat Hussain, who said, "Hi guys," and Ayush Chalal, who said, "Hoi."
Hi.
Well, hi to all of you guys. Round the wicket again, the left armour, and once more it's turned into the leg side. The bowler attempts to do his own fielding, running away to that onside, but has to be completed. That piece of fielding by his colleague running in from the boundary. Bopara takes another 2. He's picking the gaps well in this over, and he's got about 8 off it since he's been on strike. 115 for 4 is the score.
He's played that finisher role superbly for Essex this year.
Yeah, he doesn't really like batting at 6, does he? Because, well, frankly, he's a better player than that. But he has done it incredibly well. This, however, beats him on the outside edge. A good way to finish the over from Rees. The score remains 115 for 4, and we have 6 overs left in the innings.
Yeah, good work from the part-time team as Alex Hughes and Lewis Rees. I think Lewis Rees had 7 wickets. I think they both had 7 wickets going into the tournament. Sorry, going into finals day, and they've both taken 2. Alex Hughes has bowled out 22 for 24 in his 4 overs, and Lewis Rees, excellent. 2 for 12 in his 2 overs.
Yeah, look, we've talked about the importance of Dob, haven't we, in 2020 cricket, and I, for one, quite like that fact that there is room for these varying styles of bowling. Yeah, so I like that. I like the fact that what might be sort of frowned upon as a proper bowler can play such an important part in this form of the game, and pace off and all that sort of stuff. So
I mean, bowling, selecting the right bowlers for the pitch. Billy Godolman, I think, has recognised the situation.
Critchley starts a new over, and he bowls a ball of full length to new batsman Wheater, who digs out a ball of Yorker length, really, plays it into the offside. There's no run. Next ball turns a bit, and he lost this one over extra cover. It's going to bounce once and twice. It's fielded by the man running round on the boundary. Almost lets it through to the boundary rope, but 2 it is going to be.
Let's get a jingle for the Essex keeper.
Backing away to the leg side, playing this one through the covers once more. He's going to get just a single, I think, this time. I would have preferred a jingle to be by Wheatus for him, but there we are. It's just me.
Or Weezer.
I love a bit of Weezer. Ooh-wee-oo, you look just like Buddy Holly. Cracking tune, that.
Ooh-wee-oo,
Yep.
you look just like Eric Harley's.
Critchley in again. This one turns quite sharply, but it's played out to point by Bopara. And I think they've trotted through for a single. They have indeed. 119 for 4 is the score. 2 balls left in this, the 15th over. And if they do get a shift on, they could get up somewhere near 200. Probably not over 200, but somewhere near it. And that, I think, would be a good score on this pitch. This is short. Wheater reverse. Well, it gets down to reverse sweep. It was too short for the shot, really. But I think it's beaten everything, including the keeper. It's fielded down there on the boundary. We'll have a look at that.
4 byes, I think.
Is it going to be 4? They're going to signal 4?
Yeah, I reckon it's 4 byes.
Anyway, the score.
Darren Smith, the Derbyshire wicketkeeper, who's kind of an occasional keeper, is clapping his fielder, who might there have just done brilliantly.
Has done brilliantly. Literally clawed it in with his claws, because that would have to be claws in order for that statement to be literal, wouldn't it? But he did very, very well, as you say, Knuckle, and the shades were off. He was careening into the boundary sponge.
Yeah, super work from Alex Hughes.
So Critchley to finish the over. Another one that's dragged a bit short. I think he's trying to bowl flat and just dragging it ever so slightly. It is played up to mid-on by Bopara. He takes a single, moves on to 18. The score to 123 for 4 after 15.
It's an excellent. It's been a great comeback from them.
Yeah.
Just they fully on course for 200 in the end of the 8th and 9th, and just they've brought them back brilliantly.
And I guess it's that sort of pitch where you can do that as well, even if a team gets off to a good start, because it's not the truest of pitches. It's a little bit up and down. It's a little bit sticky, I think. As we said earlier on, not particularly lavish sideways movement, but it's not a pitch where you can just play through the line.
No, it isn't. I mean, certainly it is easier to score when the faster bowlers are on and when the power play fielding restrictions are in order or rather in play.
So why, as a bowling team, would you bowl your pace bowlers at full pace if that's the sort of optimum scoring opportunity? Rees, excellent figures of 2 for 12 off his 2. He's round the wicket, the left armour, and back goes Bopara, slaps this one up towards mid off or long off, takes a single.
Rohan, what have we got on Twitter?
So Durban Oaks just updated us about the City score. that City's up 4 against Watford after 15 minutes.
Except it's 5 now at least, isn't it?
Yeah, it is 5 now.
Yeah, sorry Tony in the next room. I'm sure you're aware of this by now.
And Morg says the Reese jingle is from a show called Person of Interest, over some unnecessarily dramatic music.
Back in his crease goes Bapara, plays it up to long on, and they come through for a single.
I think we should hear it again. For the man who's taken the wickets for Derbyshire.
What will you do, Mr. Reese? Show him what a real monster looks like.
No such thing as unnecessarily dramatic for finals day.
Well, Mike thought that was from Terminator 2, so we have a difference of opinion here, Jeffrey. Bapara back in his crease and cutting this one in front of square. The fielder retrieves it towards the boundary, and they come through for another single, 126 for 4.
Just back on the point about Darren Smith, I think he's the least experienced keeper of any of the 4 that we've seen in finals day. I think Tom Moores and Ben Cox both did very well, and Adam Wheater's a pretty good keeper, ex of Hampshire.
Reese around the wicket again on the angle, and this time it's a appeal for a run out. Wheater has made that pretty sharp single though, and I don't think we're going to...
Well, it didn't hit the stumps for one thing.
Well, yeah, hence makes the appeal look a bit ridiculous, doesn't it? We're just seeing a replay now. No, it just threatened to graze the outside of the stump.
I think it'd have been gone if it had hit.
It would have been close, certainly.
Full length, desperate dive from Adam Wheater.
Of dust.
Like a baseball slide.
Yeah. So 127 for 4, 2 balls left in the 16th over, being bowled by Reese, coming round the wicket. This is a slower ball, if that is indeed possible. Turned away by Bapara into the leg side, and they come through for a gentle single.
You'd expect to see this pitch slow down even further, though, in the final.
It could get quicker under lights.
Yeah, maybe.
That does sometimes happen. The ball gets a bit harder to grip.
And it skids on a bit as the dew comes down, all that sort of stuff. Reese doing a very fine job for his team, coming from behind the umpire and round the wicket to the right-handed Wheater, who nurdles this backward of square on the offside. And they come through for a single once more, 129 for 4 at the end of the 16th.
Yeah, we see through and round often. We don't often see behind and round.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's probably just his natural way of doing things, but it's a little disconcerting as a batsman when you only see the bowler like that at the last second.
It's like a very, very slow version of Wasim Akram.
Oh, yes. And right there the comparison ends. Essex 129 for 4.
News from the Afghanistan-Bangladesh game, the last game of that tri-series. Afghanistan made 138 for 7 in their 20 overs. Bangladesh are 8 for no loss after 2 overs. In fact, no, 11 for 1 after 2.4 overs. That one's
refresh.
Updated. Who got the runs for Afghanistan? For whom Mohammed Nabi and Najibullah have been in great form. Hasratullah Zazai 47 of 35. Rahmanul Gurbaz 29 of 27, and Shafiqullah 23 of 17. So no one really scoring at any great pace. Wickets for Saifuddin, Shafiul Islam, Shakib, Mustafizur, and 2 for Afif Hussain. Liton Das is the man who's gone caught by Asghar Afghan off the bowling of Mujib.
We're going to have another change of bowling here at Edgbaston. Derbyshire ringing the changes. It's going to be...
Critchley's continuing.
Oh no, he's continuing. Sorry, I thought it was a change. There was a big discussion which looked like it was changed, but it's Critchley continuing, I beg your pardon. This is driven aerially through mid-off, but there's only a man back at long-off. So another run to Wheater.
Critchley's been excellent this season. 17 wickets before finals day,
yep.
Under 7 and over. Second only to Ravi Rampal in terms of wickets for Derbyshire. We'll see Rampal, I'm sure, back into the attack pretty soon.
Bapara gets a spinning ball outside his off stump, goes back in his crease, attempts to cut, doesn't make contact, and that's through to the keeper.
Yeah, that was nicely taken by Darren Smith, because that did turn a little bit. There is some turnout that we saw Moeen turn a couple big.
He's ripping it, is Critchley. That's good to see. He's in again now, just outside the off stump once more. It rips and takes the outside edge.
Wrong end.
Bapara does complete the single.
You saw Bapara getting a bit frustrated as well in the last ball.
Yeah.
He's been starved of strike. And his strike rate goes up massively in the last... in the final bit of the game. I think he scored something like 70 or 44 balls at the...
This is almost a moon ball. And a full toss outside the off stump, very close, I should think, to a waist high full toss. It has been called, in fact, over waist height by the ump.
Yeah, I know that.
And it certainly is.
I know technically yes, but that's not dangerous.
No, but it is nevertheless a rule.
I'm sorry, Smokey. You were over the line. That's a foul.
They are allowed to change the field, of course, for the free hit because they crossed. The first day in that sentence being the bowling side, and the second day being the batters.
Hit me, baby, one more time. This is fired into middle stump, and it's a low full toss this time. The free hit, which Bopara drives hard, not along the ground to long off. He looks disgusted with himself or something. Crossing his arms, flinging his bat around his body as if to say, I am annoyed, and he certainly is. Wheater gets another full ball, drives this wide of long off, and they come through for another single, bringing the rather tetchy Bopara back onto
Yeah,
strike.
I got the spirit of the stat correct, but the numbers wrong. So after this ball,
which is on leg stump and swept by Bopara straight to the man on the 45. They do, however, complete the single. At the end of the 17th over, it's 137 for 4. Do explain how you can get a stat right in the spirit, but not with numbers.
So the idea was to show how much faster Bopara scores in the death overs than before. So before the start of the 16th over, before finals day, 15 off 20 balls against the seamers. That rises to 148 off 70 in this from the 16th over onwards.
Holy cow! Yeah,
and similarly fast acceleration against the spinners.
I wonder what Dan Christian's stats are like. We won't see him again today because he was part of the losing Nottinghamshire side against Worcestershire. That mini classic that we had in the first semi-final.
Yeah, one of the all-time great chokes from Nottinghamshire.
And there are a load of chickens. Talking of choking, in the crowd, plenty of fancy dress going on today. People dressed as Jack Leach, people dressed as England cricketers, and the change that Knackle was calling for about an over ago is happening now.
Yeah,
it's this big unit.
Leading wicket taker in the tournament and the best death bowler in the competition.
And he's into bowl to Bopara now. Pretty regulation ball, just angled in towards middle and leg, turned into the mid-wicket region. Almost a mid-pitch collision between the batsmen there, but they do scamper through for 2 in the end, and it's 139 for 4.
Mog says, write the fucking jingles yourself then, Grubby. Also, hi, Grubby.
Okay, and hi back to you. That's that bit of social interaction done. Mog, was I being less than complimentary about one of his jingles? I can't remember. I never know what I say, Mog, in the heat of the moment. There we are. Glad you're well, though. You're obviously on good form. Bopara has 26. He faces up to a full delivery from Rampal. Doesn't time this as he aims it through the offside. It's fielded at extra cover, and they come through for a single. 140 for 4 is the score now. 2 balls have gone in the 18th over, being bowled by the considerably ample-framed Ravi Rampal.
Yeah, a little bit of Rory Kleinfeld in that, a big man has concentrated on his skills more than his fitness, but his skills are top-notch. He's superb for Derbyshire in this competition, as Kleinfeld was for Northants rather when they won finals day a couple of years ago.
Oh, we've said this many times, but another of the joys of cricket for me is that it is a game for all shapes and sizes. I mean, you see like Mark Cosgrave plying his trade. I love it. I love it. I love sportsmen or sports people who don't look like sports people. This is rather under-edged to mid-on, and they come through for another single.
No, that's true. And, one of the defining moments of the 2007 World Cup was Dwayne Leverock's catch.
Oh, it's an iconic
it's
moment.
Almost
really.
the only
Yes.
thing anyone remembers from that, apart from maybe Ireland beating Pakistan.
Yes.
And the final ending stupidly in the dark.
Here comes Rampal again. An attempted ramp over the offside, or over third man, but he gets it all wrong. Rampal gives the old strongman signal. He's been caught at backward point, and that is the 5th wicket. And Derbyshire really are hauling this back now.
Rampal wins the Ravi off. Bopara got caught in about 3 mines there. It is not quite...
Just about a fair delivery.
A death bowler as experienced as Ravi Rampal shouldn't be getting that close to the line. But Bopara initially...
And Bopara shouldn't be playing that shot.
Initially walked across to the offside to try and flick it over fine leg, then tried to turn it into the inside-out sort of scoop through third man, and ended up sort of leading edge come back of the bat almost. No,
it came off the face.
A leading middle of the bat.
But it's almost like he was flipping a pancake, except the pancake was the ball. It went straight in the air and it was caught at backward point. A dolly and a soft dismissal. There's no need to play that shot. I mean, to that ball, he could have been driving that conventionally through the covers for 1 or 2 or even 4 if he placed it well.
Trying to premeditate against the lack of pace of Rumpel.
It was premeditated and wrongly so. So the run rate has dropped below 8 now, and that is a massive drop off in the context of this innings. I think it was 9.5 for the first 10 overs or so. Paul Walter's come to the crease. And I don't think the batsman crossed, so he'll have to face up to the runaway juggernaut that is Ravi Rampal. That would have been a wide down the leg side, but he managed to get a leading edge on it. It runs out towards extra cover, and Walter is off the mark off his first ball.
Cameron Delport and not a lot else for Essex. He scored at 55 of 31, but Wesley barely above a runner ball. Tenja Scarter out for 1, Jack Lawrence out for 3, Bopara barely above a runner ball, and Wheater's currently going at below a runner ball.
No, and Bopara's too senior to be doing stuff like that. He really needed to see them through, but
a certain amount of... I'll come to that after this ball.
Rampal zones a ball in on leg stump, and it's whipped into the onside, and double misfield there. The man running in from the square leg, and the man who was backing him up from deep mid-wicket. Allowing the batsman to come back for 2. Rampal scratches his well-furnished head as if to say, what on earth is going off out there? There's actually a little left hand which wrong-footed the man running in behind him. 2 runs accrue, 145 for 5.
I know it's easier said than done, but you know Rumpel is their best bowler and you might have a chance against the others. Bopara is easily good enough to play out a few balls and then go after the others.
Yeah,
but you know,
it like any shot that you play, conventional or otherwise. If you get it wrong, you can look silly, and he certainly looked silly there. Did seem to change his mind as to what shot he was going to play. It was a full delivery. He could have just stood tall and played it on the full through the covers. He elected to try something with a high tariff and really got it wrong. Anyway, he's gone. 18 overs have now gone, and it's 145 for 5. So
it was Lewis Rees who took the catch at short third man, and he's back on to finish his spell.
Here he comes, the bombshell round the wicket, wide of the crease. Wheater plays it to extra cover. They come through for a comfortable single.
Shades of Romania in the 1998 World Cup with Lewis Rees.
Well, you know, my story about that is that I went to England's game against Romania, which was a group game, which England ended up losing 2-1. I had bleached blonde hair, and it was the very next game that all the Romanians turned up with bleached blonde hair. They must have seen me in that crowd of 55,000 and taken inspiration.
You're a trendsetter indeed.
Indeed. Over the wicket is Rees. This is swung high, 1 bounce by Walter. I thought for one moment that might be going all the way into the stand, but they just get a single.
They just can't get him away.
No, this is it. He's got an excellent spell for his team. He's 2 balls into his final over, his 4th over recently. He's figures of 2 for 20.
There's nothing to hit. There's no possibility of hitting through the line because you can't get the pace on the ball to be able to do that safely.
Round the wicket he comes again. This is speared in actually wide of leg stump. I think he saw Wheater backing away to the leg side. They come through for a single as he plays it up to long on. So 9 balls left, 148 for 5. It's going to be a challenging total, we think, because this pitch is a little bit up and down, a little bit two-paced, a little bit sticky, I would call it. However, it could have been so much better for Essex, couldn't it? It could have been somewhere up around 200, and I think if they get 160, 165, you know, that still looks good. They'd have probably taken that at the start of the innings, but as I say, it could have been so much better. Lots of fellas dressed in cricket whites there with mullets. I suspect that's a homage to Beefy Botham. This is flicked and timed quite nicely, aerially, by Walter. They're definitely going to come through for 1. I think they come back for 2. They have indeed. And that is the 150 up, 150 for 5 with 2 balls left of the 19th.
Yeah, I think Essex are on for a competitive total. And Derbyshire are the slowest team in the tournament at the death with the bat. They're very reliant on Madsen and Godalman at the top of the order.
Madsen and Godalman both in the top 10, I think, run scorers in this competition. This is an ugly swipe, really, by Walter, getting down on one knee. Gets a bit under edgy and fielded at deep square leg, and there's a single.
Yeah, they're both in the top 6, in fact, for
right next to each other. I noticed.
Yeah,
I was doing my cursory
6.
research on the way here on the train.
Yeah, numbers number 5 and 6. So they're both up over 400 runs.
But Madsen scoring at like 140 and Godleman scoring at like 110 or something. Oh, so close to bowling him. An attempted sweep by Wheater, got a big under edge, hit his boot, trickled back towards the stumps, just missed the off stump. Keeper Smith picked it up and dobbed it against the stumps. They are wandering quite deliberately up the wicket as if to say, yeah, definitely think that's out. But there's no great celebration among the Derbyshire fielders there. Certainly a legal delivery.
By the way, there's a massive Mancad candidate. Is Paul Walter at the other end.
So we're just seeing the replay now. The ball just missing the stump. His foot at this moment is, I think that's out.
Ooh, that's brilliant work from Darren Smith.
It is definitely out because his foot, the toe of his foot is over the line, and there is nothing grounded with his footwear behind the line. This is going to be given. Will it be stumped or will it be run out? It's stumped, probably.
Stumped, I'd reckon so.
It's been given not out. So what do I know?
I
can't really understand that.
Maybe there was a little part behind the line, but I thought
I want to see that again. Anyway, the score is 151 for 5. I suppose this late stage, the net result, i.e. a dot ball, is satisfactory for Derbyshire. Big man Rampall's going to bowl that last over. He has figures of 1 for 22 from his 3 thus far.
I think Van Beek might bowl the last. Oh no, this is the last.
This is the last. Yeah, Walter is going to be facing up. He has 5. Brilliant Yorker from Rampall, absolutely zeroing in on his off stump there. The left-handed Walter could only dig it out back to the bowler, and that is a valuable, vital, precious dot ball for Derbyshire. And some movement in the air there as well. It started wide of the left-hander's leg stump, and then in the air it moved across him so that it was on the line of off stump when it landed. Excellent delivery from Ravi Rampall. Big puff of dust as Walter dug that one out. But ideal for the final over of an innings. 151 for 5 it remains. 5 balls left in the innings. Walter has 5 to his name. They've packed that offside, so that's going to be the line he's bowling. 2 behind square, and 2 in the covers. He saw him going to the leg side and very expertly bowled into his pads there. That would have been a wide had he stood still. However, it trickles out backward to square on the offside, and they come through for a leg bye. So just the 1 run from the first 2 balls of this final over.
Yeah, and the dot ball off the last. Lewis Rees ending with 4 overs, no mains, 2 for 24. Really good stuff, and using the conditions expertly.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've got a boundary as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose, again, just highlighting how tricky this pitch might be. Rampall in again, and another full delivery. Wheater connects this time. He's beaten the men in the covers, and just as you called it there, Roheen, that one does go for 4.
Yeah, that is the first boundary since the 3rd ball of the 14th over. So, as with Worcestershire, a 5-over gap between boundaries.
3 balls left in the innings, and 156 for 5 if this is the score. Rampall bowls this one again. Some movement through the air there. An attempted wipe across the line by Wheater. He does get a bit of an inside edge to it. Runs through for a single. 157 for 5, 2 balls left. And the rate is just under 8. And you would not have said that after 10 overs. But a very good collective bowling effort here from Derbyshire. Rampall has bowled his York as well. Rees with an excellent spell. Critchley did okay, the leggy as well. Rampall in again at the base of the leg stump. And some more movement through the air there. But he whips it away through the leg side, and they come through for 2 more valuable runs. 159 for 5. Final ball of the innings coming up here. So they're going to be set a challenging total here, Derbyshire. It's going to be 160 or thereabouts. 159 for 5. Rampall, 1 for 29 are his figures. He's going to complete his spell and the innings. In over the wicket to Walter now, the tall left-hander. Right at the base of leg stump again, and he can just flick it out to square leg. It's fielded. They come through for 1. There's not a second there. They don't even attempt it. So it is a flat level 160, exactly 8 and over. 160 for 5 from their 20. Based on what we saw earlier, where 147 was enough to win the game, I suspect that you'd have to make Essex slight favourites. But, as we said before, could have been 180, 190, even 200 at one point. So Derbyshire won't be unhappy with how they have finished off, certainly the second half of
Yeah,
this
Cameron Delport's 55 looks as though it belongs to a different match.
No, the mood in the Derbyshire camp is definitely going to be quite positive now.
So can Godalman and Madsen do their thing? Can they find an unlikely hero, Derbyshire? They have, as you say, Knuckle, relied quite heavily on those two for their batting props this season. But hey, anything can happen on finals day, can't it? Any more social media stuff there, Rohan, before we break momentarily?
So Kunal's recommended the Cricket Monthly article about Ravi and Tendo in The Cricketer, about their journey since the debut together and...
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read it myself, but it sounds pretty interesting.
Yes, they made their debut together about, what did I say, 15? Is it that many years ago? About 15 years ago, something like that. Anyway, yes, Wheater 20 not out from 17 and Walter 8 not out from 8 were the not out batsmen for Essex in their, well, I was going to say gallop, but it ended up being a bit of a trot towards 160 for 5. The wicket takers, Rees 2 for 24, Hughes 2 for 24, both excellent spells by the Dobbers. 1 for 30 by Rampal. Critchley, I think, bowled a bit better than his none for 36 would suggest. But it's going to be another interesting run chase. How long have we got between innings here? About 10 minutes?
The 15-minute gap, but we'll be back in about 10 minutes. We'll go back to that interview that we were playing with Northamptonshire's Stephen Crook.
It's all going pretty well. You wintered well?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Yeah, very good. Yeah, got a bit going on, and yeah, it's been good. Little orders keep me pretty busy as well, mate.
Oh,
so,
right, yeah, I suppose that's
really good.
Okay.
Hey, congratulations on getting the contract, mate. That's brilliant news.
It's fantastic, isn't it? We're very excited. Yeah, we're we're up here getting it arranged, everything arranged, and it's we're just hoping the weather's going to stay good. The clouds are a bit threatening, but we'll see how it goes. It looks great. It looks a picture. I don't know if you've ever played. Have you ever played up here?
No, I haven't actually. I'd love to, obviously, but no.
It's an absolute.
It looks amazing.
Yeah,
it
really
looks really good, though.
It really is. Anyway, what I want to talk to you about really is because you've just faced Pakistan. I really want to talk about your opinions of them and what you felt and the sort of promise of various players. But I'm just going to start off. I'll just do a little introduction, and then I'll start off with ask you to say a few words about Ireland getting this test match and whatever, and maybe a couple of guys that you play with. Did you play with Balburney at Middlesex?
I did only briefly though.
But who else? Did you play? You played with?
I've played at Nile, at Northants for a bit. I actually lived with him for a little bit.
Oh right, okay. Oh, you can give us a bit of an insight into his character. I talked to his sister last week as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. She seemed very nice as well. So
yeah.
All right. So I'll just ask you a couple of questions about Ireland, and then I'll go into Pakistan, really, if that's okay with you.
Of course.
So I'll just do an intro. Go ahead.
By the way, if I fuck it up, you can edit it, can't you?
We'll do our best. Yeah. Well, I might fuck it up as well. So you never know.
Is this?
The bear says it doesn't matter in his usual.
Is this a serious interview? Or
yeah, pretty well. I mean, if you've got any sort of something humorous to say about anything, that's fine. It's fine. But it's generally serious. But we sort of keep it to about 15 minutes if we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we'd like to welcome onto Guerrilla Cricket Stephen Crook, one of our favourite Australians, the county cricketer with Northants, and before that, of course, Middlesex and Lancashire. Now, hi, Crookie. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah.
Really, thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Now, of course, it's a historic day here in Malahide. Well, it will be as the test gets underway. What are your feelings, or what are the feelings in county cricket about Ireland getting test status? Is there a sort of a real support amongst professionals? Because you will have played with quite a few of these guys.
Absolutely. I think it's brilliant for the game, just generally. obviously you're right. I've played with and against quite a lot of the team, but yeah, it's very exciting. It's great that I guess the ICC have backed Ireland to play Test cricket. They've been been performing well for quite a long time now, and in these big white ball tournaments. So it's great to see them playing, and hopefully they can go out this week and do themselves justice. Bit of a tough opposition, but nothing like throwing them in the deep end, I guess.
Absolutely. You're only going to get better if you play against better players, aren't you? I think. Now let's talk about this Pakistan team. There's a certain amount of inexperience in it, but you got a close-up view of them last week when you played in the second warm-up match at Northamptonshire. Who in particular took your eye, would you say? Certainly on the batting front. We've just seen that the team has been announced for the test. It's the same team that you played against. So who in particular took your eye?
Well, for starters, Shafiq, he got 109 against us, so he certainly caught my eye for quite a long time of the game. He looked like a good player. I mean, I guess they're a relatively inexperienced team, so it'll be a good test for them. I mean, Ireland have got some good players in their home conditions, so it'll be a good test against probably the swinging ball and the ball seaming around a little bit, probably a bit more than perhaps did at Northants. But they've got a strong lineup. They always have, and they showed last week. I think they 450 against us in not the easiest conditions for them. So I think they'll do well. They've got a strong batting lineup.
What did you make of Imam Ul Haq? He's the nephew of course of Inzamam, and he got a 50, I think, in the second innings against you. He's been named as possibly one of the openers tomorrow. How do you see him going? What did you? Was there anything in particular that you picked up about his style of batting, or his strengths, or his weaknesses?
I mean, he comes from pedigree, so obviously the name, and Inzi was down there last week, so it's good to see him. Yeah, he's obviously a very good player. I think he might have even had a couple of 50s against us. He's a very good player. Tight in defence, and if there's an opportunity to score, he's there and thereabouts hitting them for four. So he's got every chance to do it well. Like most of them, they're able to work balls to leg and just open up scoring opportunities. I guess that's going to be the thing for Ireland. Obviously, you play white ball cricket, and it's a very different game to Test cricket. I know they've played some, associate games, but that's the real test for the bowlers stepping up into the big league in the Test arena. It's going to be a big challenge to be able to stop these guys scoring, and 5 days is a long time. And you've got to bowl a lot of overs and a lot of good balls in the right area because these guys can play.
Cut out.
Endo.
Yeah, cut out there.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Oh, well, it's okay.
I was talking rubbish anyway.
I was going to. I'm just going to check with the bear whether we're still recording when we can locate him. I think he's visiting this small man's room. Can I call you back in about 5 minutes, and we'll go over it again? Is that okay?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
All right.
No
Okay.
worries.
I'll call you back. Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.
Well, 160 to chase, and I think in the end Derbyshire would probably feel they pulled that back pretty well. I'm asking Captain Mike, who's putting his headphones on as we speak. ready and prepared to jingle up the participants as Essex take the field, easing himself into the tweeting chair to my left. Somerset's finest, Grubby.
Well, that's kind of you to say, but Tresco might have something to say about that.
Well, yeah, you and Annie are the vanguard of Somerset support amongst Gorillas.
Sure.
We're looking at Dominic Cork, of course, the coach of Derbyshire.
God, last time I saw him, he had blonde hair.
Who, Ravi Bapara?
No, Dominic
Oh,
Cork.
Dominic Cork, right, okay. So time's moved on. You've got to stay, keep following that screen. Who is going to open? It looks like it's probably going to be Jamie Porter, is it? Who's going to open up? 161 the target for Derbyshire. It's in reach.
We were talking about Jamie Porter next door. He had a stellar season last year for Essex. Didn't quite make the England squad, and then had a slightly. I mean, he's been good this season, but not quite the level of last season. I think when you bowl at his pace, which is about 80 miles an hour as opposed to 90, then it makes it much more difficult to get into that England reckoning.
Remember, these two have never played each other, have they? This is the first time. Obviously, North versus South. You might expect that. It's going to be Porter, right arm over to Rees. Takes an edge. Would have been straight down the throat of first slip. There is no first slip, and it's 4 runs. Derbyshire off to a flyer. Derbyshire off to a flyer. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that,
I'm going to be deliberately partisan here. I've been cheering for Derbyshire. A, they're the underdogs. B, I've had a little bet on them to win today.
Well, there you go. 2 good reasons.
And so, come on, Derbyshire.
They're unchanged, of course, since that brilliant quarter-final win against Gloucestershire. Porter's in, down the track. Comes Louis Rees. That's 4 more. He's whipped this away through mid-wicket. 8 off the first 2, and Derbyshire are going to give this a serious go. The Falcons are flying.
Lennox Lear is taking umbrage with the Muppets on Sky.
Umbrage?
She says, what are they talking about? Best spinner in the country, while our Ashwin is literally in the bloody country.
And in comes Porter. Oh, he's pulled that away over square leg. That's gone for 6. What a shot that was. It was dropped short.
Decent start, 14 off 3 balls.
Yeah. Essex doing a decent impression of the Watford defence here as they just collapse.
And Louis Rees is doing all this before we've even jingled him up.
Well, yeah. Just think what's going to happen when we've given him his jingle.
Show him what a real monster looks like.
Now, Mike, you said that was a clip from Terminator 2.
I thought it was
right.
Terminator
Someone
14
else
off 3.
said something else earlier.
Yeah, I thought. Yes, I thought someone was up to round the wicket. Comes Porter down the track.
Oh, shot!
Bunted duck, and it's hit the umpire. It's hit the umpire, who will have felt that squarely on his ample buttock. And but for that, it was a nailed on 4, which I have to say. What's
the crack?
Well, let's see. It might not have been his buttock. Let's see if I'm actually right. Oh, great camera work as ever. Oh no, his arm. Was it his arm? No, it's his side. Anyway, there's plenty of him.
One thing we can say is that Louis Rees is not arsing around.
Well, he's not. It wasn't his bum, it was his side. But, well, they were robbed. Derbyshire were robbed of another nailed on 4 there. If they lose this by 4 runs, there will need to be a steward's inquiry or an umpire's inquiry. Anyway, Billy Godalman, who's been stood at the other end watching the chaos, gets a go at Porter. He's down the track, swinging. He's trying to do the same as Rees. Misses it. And it is through to the keeper.
Trying to do it in 10 overs, aren't they?
Well, they come out swinging, Derbyshire. That's been their way of playing all season, I think. And
don't mind it.
Well, no, indeed not.
Oh, Hendo's in.
Oh Lord!
Has anyone told Tony the football?
Yes, they told me the fucking score. Thank you for nothing, Hendo.
Not much better here at Stadium of Fright. Another lead given away. Should have come to the cricket. You should, Hendo. You know you should.
In comes Porter. Oh, and again, it's a slower ball. So Godalman, isn't that interesting? He's coming around the wicket to the left-handed Godalman, Porter, and he's digging 2 in. Slower ball bounces, and Godalman hasn't really laid a bat on either of them, whereas Rees just was out of the blocks like Usain Bolt, wasn't he? Extraordinary difference. So at the end of that first over, 15 for none. The Falcons well and truly up with the run rate. Let's see how they tackle the second over. Be
Yowza.
very interesting, I reckon.
What an explosive start that was. I'm just going to say hi to a few of our Crick Tracker watchers. Hello, grudging watchers.
Grudging watchers.
Manoj Yadav, hello to you. Imtiaz Chauhan and Ravish Chowdhury. You're all very welcome. Tell your mates, stick with us, and enjoy the entertainment. Could be some tremendous close run stuff later on.
It's going to be Beard who's right arm around, and again, this time it's Rees who's looking to hoik this over mid wicket and can't lay a bat on it.
And here is the jingle for Aaron Beard.
Crazy.
Yeah, of course. Now, I much admire the way that Rees has begun this run chase, but there is a difference between sort of deliberate aggression and just going utterly mad. And his head was way in the air trying to play that previous shot.
Beard's in again, right arm, quick, lifted this time, up and over, long on, and this time it is 4 more. And Rees it is once again, who's connected handsomely.
That went like a tracer bullet.
Well, I mean, it's not difficult to discern the tactics here. It's let's make hay while the power play shines, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and they've been doing it extremely tidily as well. Godalman and Luis Rees going very nicely. Well, Godalman not so nicely. He hasn't got yet to get off the mark. So 19 runs out of 19 scored for the team have all been scored by Rees. In comes Beard, takes an edge, taken behind the stumps by Adam Wheater. What a catch!
Brilliant.
That's
catch.
a big wicket under the context of the game and the way that Rees was going. Lordy, and what a great catch by Wheater. He's flung himself to his left. And Essex have a huge breakthrough.
Terrific grab. Yeah, I mean, he came in like a man possessed there, didn't he? And like, you know, if you put in 3 overs like that, all of a sudden you got best part of 60 on the board or something, and then you made a massive dent in that total. I mean, it's still, in the context of the game as it unfolds, might not be a bad contribution, 19 or 7. Well, if everyone came in and did that,
yeah, indeed.
Right.
Well, it's all about, if you're chasing a biggish score, and I don't think it is biggish a score, but it might be a biggish score in the context of this track, then getting the runs on the wicket early and taking some of the pressure off is the way to go. That's, if you recall the last game where Middlesex just pipped Somerset. Somerset set a massive score. They set a massive score, Somerset, but Milan and I think Sterlo just got on top of it before anyone else even had to come in. As this one is just pushed away to mid-wicket by Madston, who's the new man at the crease. I don't know if we have a jingle for him, did we? We might even have done it. I was
yes, we do.
Thinking of something else.
If there's a noise late at night, it's probably Wayne Madsen going through your garbage. He's a bit weird like that.
Wayne Madsen going through your garbage. There is a thought. In comes Beard, and nicely forward is the batsman.
A forward defensive
again,
prod?
there's no runner. Was a forward defensive prod.
Lewis Rees still has 100% of Derbyshire's runs, doesn't he?
Well, he does, yeah. It's just they've got 1 wicket against their name at the moment. So they bought themselves 2 or 3 balls to take stock. They won't want to stagnate, because that's a hard state of mind to get yourself out of sometimes, isn't it? As this ball is in, flicked nicely off his legs through mid-wicket. There's a man coming around as Bapara, and they will get themselves 2. Good running. If you can't get the boundaries, make sure you turn the 1s into 2s, the 2s into 3s, and keep that pressure on. So that ends a successful over for young Beard. 1 for 6 for him, and a very important one in the context of that. Luis Rees for 19, caught by Adam Wheater behind the stumps off one he was chasing slightly wide, and a brilliant diving catch to his left by Wheater. So the Derbyshire Falcons need 140 from 108 balls. Remember, 160 for 5. Essex, Delport 55, Wesley 39, Papara 27, Adam Wheater 20 not out. 2 wickets each for Luis Rees, Alex Hughes, and 1 for Ravi Rampol. And it's going to be Jamie Porter continuing, who got that huge amount of tap in the first over, until the umpire intervened, and then he was fine after that.
Yeah, it could have been 19, couldn't it? Off
See,
5
again,
or something.
so, and the man who only got a single when he should have had a 4, as this one is flicked beautifully, whipped around the corner. There is no fine leg. That'll be 4 more. I mean, you could go on, you know, it's the butterfly effect, isn't it? But if that ball hadn't hit the umpire, then Rees wouldn't necessarily have been facing the ball that got him out.
No, but you look at that,
and you go on, don't you?
That previous ball there that Porter just bowled, angled across and down the leg side, and that is, he knows you can't bowl that line. Anything on it, it's 4 runs.
No, you can't. He's a right arm around the wicket, down the track, and driven through extra cover by Billy Godleman, formerly of the Middlesex Parish, although never really made it there. I'm struggling. I got to find anything to cheer me up today. I've never felt so gutted or deflated, including Wembley. I'm trying to put it to the back of my mind.
So the team in yellow here getting a fearful amount
Shut
of
up! This one, that's a good ball. That's a better ball from Porter. Again, it was on that sort of leg side Yorker. It was just clipped by Madsen, by Godleman rather, for away for 1. 30-for-1 off 2.3. That target 161 looking eminently achievable.
These are the two.
Madsen on 2.
Yeah, 2 main men, aren't they, for Derbyshire? And that previous cover drive from Godleman, he just stood and delivered. It was my favourite shot of the day.
Oh, it was a gorgeous shot. Although Alex Hales hit a couple of those which were pretty smart as well. In comes Porter. Oh, and as he tucks up Madsen there, I thought for just a moment that might have dribbled back onto his stumps. But he has survived. And cleanliness is next to Godlyman.
Cleanlyman is next to Godlyman. There should be a player called Cleanlyman.
There should be a Cleanlyman to play with Godlyman.
Is there a Clemleman?
Or is Godleman? He's obviously French.
He is.
The French would tell you God was a Frenchman.
Le Mans. Linux Lear says, we need to have a serious discussion about the command structure, with El Comandante abandoning the cause to consume capitalist panem et circenses. I think she means Hendo going to the football.
Hendo going to football, yeah. And this one is dropped slightly short by Porter. Madsen has to get up onto his toes and defend it away into the offside, so there's no run. 30-for-1. 2 for Madsen, 9 for Godleman. Jamie Porter's just got on top of his game now after that horrific start. None for 24 off 1.5 though. He'll be desperately doing everything he can to make this at least a dot ball and not a boundary. Short and, well, it was never an LBW shout, but it was looking to be whipped away by Madsen. Took the very off top of his thigh and kind of went away to backward square leg. Didn't take a run though, and it stays 34-1. Who's with us? Gross.
Well, only the people I've alerted you to previously. We have Linux Lear, Hendo. I wonder if Hendo's listening to us from his football nightmare.
Might have been at half time. Well, they were. Were they 1 up again, Wimbledon? I expect.
Well, obviously they were, because it's another lead given away. I mean, it is extraordinary the number of times that AFC Wimbledon have taken the lead and lost the game 2-1.
You have nothing really to worry about, I can assure you. Oh, someone's now come dressed there as an Ian Botham bottle of wine. I wonder if they've been paid by Sir Ian to do the advertising. Aha! We are going to get a first look at the Essex captain.
Best spinner in the country, probably, as in the country.
Well, hang on. What about you're all gearing up for next week? He'll be there. He'll be there come Monday.
This
It'll
is what
be all right. Let me see. We've nearly had a chance to look at the field there.
Better than R. Ashwin.
We've got a backward point. Cover, extra cover. In comes Harmer, and he's beaten him, and he's taken the top of the middle stump, turned massively, and the second Derbyshire wicket has fallen to Harmer's first ball. He punches the air, and it's Godleman who has gone. What a ball that was, Scrubs.
Best spinner in the country, Leah.
What a ball that was.
I don't always agree with the Sky guys, but if that's what they were saying, didn't hear it. Harmer, in English conditions, is proven to be an absolute top-notch performer. And straight into the attack. That one pitched outside leg, I think, and hit the top of middle, didn't it? From
It
around
did.
the wicket.
Well, it was to the left-hander, wasn't it? I don't think it pitched on leg, but it definitely, to be fair, Godleman was looking to step back and give himself some room.
Godleman hardly moved. He was pinned outside leg stump, didn't move his feet. Yeah, so just waving his bat there.
Yeah, it was. If it had been a Red Bull game in white clothing, you'd have been cursing the.
Well, he did play it pretty ineptly.
How
but it was,
awful that shot was. So Louis Duploy is our man. He's got a best of 70, which he made versus the Birmingham Bears.
It sounds like you're saying that in a sort of a low accent.
Hello,
Duploy.
I was pissing by your door.
Listen carefully, where it says this only once.
Oh, yep.
First episode of that was absolutely brilliant.
Harmer's in again. It's only his second ball, isn't it? He's coming around the wicket, and Duploy has just pushed this away into the offside. There is no run.
Tonight I will sing as I have never sung before. And he goes, in tune.
In comes Harmer again. Down the track comes Duploy. He's hoiked this up and over mid-wicket. I don't think it's going to go all the way, though. There is a boundary rider down there. It is suitably dealt with, and they should have taken 2. They may have looked for 3, but I don't think they will have done.
And we do have a jingle for Simon Harmer.
We surely do.
Simon Harmer flees into the night, straight from Pretoria.
And he comes, he's beaten the edge. Well, we're having another look at that. It beat the outside edge. Wheater was lightning fast.
Yeah, very smart bit of work.
Whip off the bails. I'd be surprised, to be honest, if the batsman's foot had lifted. Duploy. Let's have a look. Oh, hang on though. He's toppling forward. No, I think his back foot
is on the ground.
He did very well actually to keep his foot down, because all of his momentum was carrying it forward, wasn't it? And sure enough, the sign goes up saying not out, and we will move on. Simon Harmer's still got 2 balls left of a very eventful over. That one is worked off his legs. They would look for a single. They get there. In fact, Harmer couldn't quite field the throw. It was backed up though, but it's another single to the score. 33 from a absolute blitzkrieg of a start. We are now dealing in 1s and 2s here, aren't we?
Like
That's
guerrilla
the
cricket dating.
Like
turning 1s into 2s since 2014.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Are we sort of the cricket commentary version of Strictly Come Dancing then, are we? Oh no, they turn 2s into 1s, don't they?
And then 1s into other 2s.
As in comes Harmer, and that one's swept, but it's swept straight to Ravi Bopara, who is backward square.
Would be skinny his elbow, wouldn't he, on that, on that
well,
adjacent
yeah,
pitch?
he is on that adjacent wicket, but he seems he's a man of granite. Doesn't look overly troubled. 34 for 2, end of that successful over. 1 for 4. A terrific over from Harmer, and Derbyshire are 2 down for 34. Rees gone for 19. He got off to a flyer, off to 7. Godleman 9 for 6 before he was comprehensively beaten by Simon Harmer, and it's now down to Madsen on 3 and Duploy on 3 to try and rebuild a bit here.
A very frantic, very eventful start to this innings.
It is.
Now we're going to see another bowling change as Essex are whipping through their range of options. It looks to me like young Nijar it is. He's left arm around the wicket and swept through square leg for 4. Welcome to the finals day, Mr. Najar.
2 + 2 is our man.
I'm sorry, if you've got your fielders behind square and just in front of square on the leg side, up on the 1 and no one back on the fence, you cannot be bowling that length on leg stump. You're going to get swept for 4 all day.
He's in again. And that one is hoiked uppish. Has he got enough of it? I think he has.
Yep.
Yep. That's over long on for 6 more. Dear oh dear, young Aaron Nijar. Yep, that was really meaterly pulled up and over cow corner, really, I guess. So 10. He started a bit like Porter, hasn't he? 10 off his first 2.
Yep.
44 for 2. Things are moving along again. Of course, Essex, I'll hold that thought for a second as Nijar is in. And that takes the edge of the batter deploy and was away into the offside. Sorry, it was Madsen. Najar stretches his arms. He'll feel a little bit better after that, but that one is smeared around the corner. There was a man there at fine leg. He couldn't get there, and it's 4 more. Of course, there's literally an A to Z of Essex players who haven't made today.
Literally?
Yeah, literally. A for Amir and Z for Zampa. So there you go. Forget everyone in between. There's Najar.
That's as quick from A to Z as you can get.
That is. That's the direct route. Oh, he bowled him! Bowled him around his legs. Another one's gone. And Najar can probably forgive himself for the 14 he's conceded, because he's taken another vital wicket for Essex, and that'll slow the run rate again.
You flipping muppet!
I'd like to ask him, where'd you keep your false teeth of an evening? He'd say, Najar.
In a jar. Well, I was about to say he's left some of the field ajar. So we were thinking along the same lines.
Good. What, you mean terrible dad puns?
Terrible dad puns.
We love them. They're not terrible though, they're funny. Talking of dad, my dad's probably listening. Hello Pete, with my mum Barbara as usual. Hello to you both. Dad, I hope you enjoyed me chatting about someone's open face earlier. One of your
that was a very good conversation.
You don't want to know the score, by the way, Tony.
Has it gone up to 7 now?
Yeah.
7, great stuff. Yeah. Well, my youngest just texted me to say he's going to become a Chelsea fan, so he's going to find the fucking door locked in his face.
Unbelievable. I've had a bit, well, we can chat about this off air. This is not I've had a bit of dissension in the ranks at mine as well.
48-4-3.
Yeah, Madsen being a bit greedy there, going to the well once too often. If he'd have stayed in his conventional stance instead of moving across, then he could have worked that for 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But bit greedy, thought things were on his side, and
they've decided to go for it in the power play. They really have, haven't they? Regardless of how many wickets are falling, and they've got they're going at 10 and over practically. So
well, yes, they have. Najar's going to be bowling the last ball of this over. He's coming around the wicket and very solidly forward indeed. Is the new man. Madsen, of course, departed for 17, as Captain Mike eloquently put it. He went to the well too often and got found out, didn't he?
Leah says, but does Harmer do a pretty good impression of Carl Urban as Judge Dredd with the bat in hand? Judging all the bowlers put him put before him harshly with a dismissive frown. No, didn't think so. I'm afraid I don't do very well with Judge Dredd references, Lee. I know you're a big fan, so apologies I can't really respond in kind. Devin Wade is with us. Hello, Devin. Ahoy, lads. Great day for some 2020 finals. End of the first one was some of the worst running between the wickets I've ever seen in my short time watching the sport. It was a genuine choke, wasn't it, from Notts collectively, and I suppose, if you're being harsh, to Ben Duckett in particular.
Yeah, I mean, well, we are going to see Ravi Bopara's unique medium pace wibbly wobblers. Best of 6 for 16 though, don't knock them.
I'm Ravi Bopara. You're listening to testmatchsulphur.com. They're not as funny as they think they are.
Well, Ravi Bopara, he's a batter, like Ian Bell but delicate. Ravi Bopara, he's a batter, like Owe Shah but a little bit better. Ravi Bopara, he's a batter and a useful medium pace bowler to have in a limited overs game. Well,
and indeed, here he is with that useful medium pace. Down the track comes deploy, works it away around the corner, and they get a single.
The way he gets out is sometimes obscene.
You can fade him for when the ball's actually being delivered. 49 for 3. 161 the target. Alex Hughes is the new man at the crease, and he's faced just the one ball so far. He's going to be facing the other one in a minute.
It's a damn long jingle, this one.
Made his T20 debut versus Yorkshire in 2011, but Yorkshire won on that particular occasion by 8 wickets. As this one is crashed away through point, slapped by Hughes. Whoever's coming forward, they're just carrying on with the same approach, aren't they? They're just cracking on with it. They might lose a few on the way there, but they're not going to die wondering.
A few pals have joined us on Crick Tracker. Buddy Basha is with us. Nasir Hussain is with us, saying Essex will win today. Maybe, not sure. 75% win Essex.
Well, that's scarcely great.
I love those.
In comes Papara again. Perfect delivery to Hughes, and Hughes was just forward, but only halfway forward, and just pushing it away into the offside. Oh look, there's a whole bunch of people in yellow, red and black. They might as well just lay down and wait to be kicked, to be honest.
Thanks, Nasir, for that unequivocal pinning of your
Oh, they're
colours to the
bees, look,
mast.
because there's some beekeepers with them. They're not whites.
Yeah.
In comes Papara, and and that just evades backward point, and a diving effort. It would have been a catch. Instead, it's 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Imtiaz Chauhan saying, okay, let's see what happened. In what, Imtiaz? Let us know. And Buddy Bashar is back on Crick Tracker saying, final, Worcestershire will win.
Well, it's going to be very
And
interesting.
Tony Bishop joined us on Crick Tracker, it seems.
Well, did it? I might be on Crick Tracker. I don't think I'd ever sort of come off it, as it were. 57 for 3. They are bustling along at a very healthy run rate, but giving away wickets in the process. And Ravi Bopara has none for 9 off his first 4. That again is cut this time, though. The man at backward point does do his job. It goes straight to him. They take 1, and the ball hit the stumps from the throw, and they look for 2, but very rapidly decided it wouldn't be a particularly smart idea.
Ricocheted away.
Ricocheted.
As my old man used to say, hilariously.
Absolutely. Yeah, a famous Irish gunman, wasn't he, Ricochet?
Talking of parents, Leah says, I'm pretty sure my parents aren't listening. Could you nonetheless send out all the best wishes to Heinrich and Ursel? She asks me. So, hello.
Hello,
Heinrich. Hello, Ursel.
Heinrich, Ursel, good not to have you with us.
In comes Papara. Looking to flick it off his legs was Deploy until he just tickles it round the corner. And there's no one run taken. 59 for 3, 6 overs completed. I suspect there'll be one more of me, and I can just go and wallow in a pit of total misery.
Well, talking of wallowing in pits, Takashi Hara is with us saying, bit of a step down from the Ashes, but at least I can watch some cricket without any personal investment, even if it is T20.
Oh, well, there you go.
Hello to you, Takashi. Do cheer up. It's Saturday.
You want to come and sit with me in the green room, mate? I could do with someone who's more miserable than me. As we're seeing replays, yes we are. That was the wicked delivery with Harmer's very first ball. What a ball to serve, your very first ball of a semi-final.
And lovely Chris Dealey, every woman of a certain age's favourite, just references our jingle saying, useful medium pace bowlers are having a limited overs game.
In comes Nija. Oh, it's a full toss. And wasn't really got hold of at all. I think it might have surprised Deploy a little bit. And he kind of top-edged it away to mid-off, but mid-off was set, or mid-on, I beg your pardon, was set back well enough that wasn't really in the game. We're seeing what looks like a Pope and a number of his Cardinals going for a jog around the Holly stand.
Some white smoke will be going up shortly, presumably.
Could well be, yeah. Could well be. 64-3. Nijar coming around the wicket to the right-hander. It goes onto his back foot, does Hughes. But he's looking to carve it again through cover, but he carves it straight to cover. And there is no run. What's the run rate, Grubby?
Just a smidge below 10.
Yeah, just a smidge below 10. That's probably about right. As this one again is given a bit of air by Nijar. Oh, and he tried to field off his own bowling, and it somehow wriggled away from him. And he's given away a single that initially it looked like he wouldn't do, so he'd be a little bit annoyed about that. And I think he ran... He slid.
That is an injury. That's asking for an injury.
It was like a sliding tackle.
It was from a left back, wasn't it?
Nijar's in again, down the track. This one is carved through cover, but there's a man on that cover boundary. And they will just take another single. Takes the score on to 62. Who is this lot? 3 Musketeers, maybe?
Well, one of them looks like an ex of mine.
Well, yeah, they're an interesting looking group. Who are they? No, there's a whole group of them. They're not Musketeers. They're just idiots. As this one is just again steered away to deep cover. Bapara is the man down there. There is 1 run taken. We have 1 ball left. We're still seeing this group. Who are the guys in black and white? Anyone got any ideas?
I think you're right with the Musketeers.
You think they're Musketeers? There's only supposed to be 3 of them.
D'Artagnan,
Fourth if you count
D'Artagnan as well. Yeah.
But there's about 6 of them.
Yeah, well,
they just can't count.
2 sets of them.
As this one again is away to the deep cover boundary, and they will take 2. So that is the end of my stint of misery. 65 for 3 are Derbyshire. They're in the game, but they've lost 3 important wickets. Hewson deploy the men at the crease. They're going to try and get them close to that 160.
Stint of misery supported Tangerine Dream back in the day. And talking of Tangerine Dream, Linux Lear says Ricochet is also a pretty good Tangerine Dream live album from the Virgin years, held by most fans as being the peak period of the band. And with that, I shall hand over to the next squad.
Excellent. The squad here pull up on ball by ball. To my right on the jingle machine, get Mr. Andy Ward. And we've got a man just taking his seat on his left. Rosen, he's on our tweets. So get your tweets in, get your Facebook comments in. We'll be right there to do it all. Derbyshire, 96 from 78. Seems immensely doable. Still 7 wickets in hand as Hammer comes in. A big LBW call, but it probably hit him outside the line of off stump, not given out there.
Yes, Derbyshire at least had a plan, and that was to attack the power play.
Yeah.
And it worked, and yet it didn't. Plenty of runs, but probably they lost their 2 best batsmen in Gerdelman and Madsen, so game is on.
Certainly is. Hammer comes in. This is just driven straight past him out towards long win on for a single.
And with, of course, Aaron Nijar coming in for Adam Zampa. That was only his second senior T20 wicket in his second game.
Tell you what, after you hit for 4 and 6 off your first 2 deliveries, and then to come in with the third ball to get him around the legs, and the same length, it's a good delivery. And this next delivery just beaten outside the off stump, a bit of spin just out parts the outside edge. No run there. Deploy stays on 9.
Well, sorry, go on. No, I was just going to say quickly, it's nice to see first-person spinner today to actually toss it up a little bit.
That is true. It's through the defence. It's a beautiful delivery, one that would make many spinners proud. Just round the legs, hits the top of off stump, parts the outside edge, and Derbyshire have lost their 4th wicket.
So get on your bike and take a hike right out of here. Your history, no good for me. Your history, nah.
That was just perfectly pitched, just towards the middle and leg stump line.
Lovely
beats
bowling.
The outside edge, just bamboozled. And what you said earlier, Andy, tossed it up. He was hesitant with his feet, has not moved his feet his entire innings, and ultimately a great delivery's taken him out.
So I think Essex on top now.
Yeah.
Particularly as we were saying, Derbyshire are a bit of a top-heavy batting team. They've lost their main men, and now, despite being okay with the run rate, the fact that they've lost 4 wickets is a bit of a concern. Now, who is in now? Not sure.
We'll get in if we have some jingles a bit later. He's down the pitch! He's bowled him! He's gone down the pitch, gets in a complete tangle. The ball goes through past the bat, inside edge, and takes that leg stump. And Hammer is on a hat-trick now. Derbyshire is 66 for 5, 2 and 2. Now that was an absolutely dreadful shot for your first ball.
We're not even sure who that was.
That's right, he doesn't even deserve the jingle. He's been there for a delivery. But it was just an absolutely poor shot. And it sort of comes down the pitch, and no clue where the ball went. Anuj Dahl out for a golden first baller. And yeah, just beautiful. The amount of gap between that pad and bat there was ridiculous. And it just ended up, you could almost see 3 stumps. And
well,
again,
so it was a
bowling.
Brave shot, first ball to come running down the track. Harmer's bowling beautifully, and he's on a hat-trick.
And a hat-trick. Now, this is it, the hat-trick delivery. What has he got in store? The man with the shades. Wonder what his eyes are looking at there. Are they going to bring the field in? Are they going to do anything special with this delivery? So far, we've seen no changes to this field. We've got Critchley, who is in to face this hat-trick delivery. As he comes into bowl, he tosses it up, and it's just driven straight down the ground to long on for a single. So a bit of slightly a bit of letdown that last delivery.
Anticlimactic, yes.
2 and 2.
3 for 6. 3 for 6. Simon Harmer has off 2 overs, and well deserved.
Absolutely ball. And now suddenly you go 67 for 5, still needing 94 runs, more than a run a ball with just the last 5 wickets left. And as you mentioned, they're quite top heavy. they're going to be in dire straits at the moment if they lose another wicket.
They're in big trouble, yes, and I know we have some people here today who are fans of the dobbers, and they like to see the dobbers. I've seen a bit too much dobbing for one day. It seems like everybody's trying to dob the ball on a length, so good to see someone tossing it up, getting a bit of turn, beating the bat, beating the man coming down the track, and he's, can you say turned this game around?
I think we've got quite a few too many dad jokes in the last 15,
that wasn't
20
even meant
minutes.
to be one. That wasn't
it?
No.
We've
It's
got,
an inadvertent dad joke.
Ravi Bopara is going to continue. But in the meantime, do we have any tweets to run through?
Not at the moment, so get your tweets through and we'll read them out.
Plenty to talk about. Spinning, lots of things, as including, well, I would say predictions for this, but also if Derbyshire don't get through, who would win that final as well, which is going to be an interesting one.
Well, don't write Derbyshire off yet.
Not yet. We saw the last game.
Worcestershire off this morning.
Exactly right. You never know. As Ravi Bopara comes steaming in, his delivery is a bit leg-side-ish, but he'll just clip it out towards mid-wicket for a single. Hughes and Critchley, these two will, you'd say, have to be there in the last sort of 3 or 4 overs for them to have a reasonable chance. And the good news is their current run rate of 8 and over, they only need about less than 8 runs and over. So it's not a monumental task. And if they can just clip the ball around, get those singles and hit the odd boundary, they're in a good position. That wickets column is a big one, but these two certainly can hold the bat. And you still got the odd play. You still got Ravi Rumpel to come in who can still swing it around here and there. So they're definitely not out of it at the moment. But this next delivery has just missed the outside of the stump. So this is a beautiful ball where, in fact, the shot that was played was almost towards the leg side, actually saved him because it would have taken the edge otherwise. But the bat sort of got out of the way of the ball, just bounced over the top of it. A beautiful take from the keeper. And no run there. So Ravi Bopara, his dibbly dobbler is doing amazingly well at the moment. None for 12 off his 8 deliveries so far. This is another in-cutter. This time it's cut away quite sharply towards short third man, and they will run through for a single.
That was 57 miles an hour. That's just...
He's behind the same pace as Harmer.
Yeah, well, the keeper's up to both of them, so that's it's a similar sort of pace there. But Ravi Bopara, just a very crafty cricketer here, with just a slight changes of pace and cut. That's causing all this, and delivery sort of outside the off stump, a straight delivery that just cut away to point for no run. There was an attempted half run there, but Hughes was sent back, just saying, don't take that run. You don't want to lose another wicket to a run out on all things at the moment.
Devon Wade says he's heading to the store to get some beers. Any suggestions?
Any suggestions? We'll get to that as Ravi Bopara comes in a loopy, sort of slower dipper that's just driven out to point and to deep point, and they'll take run through for a single. Derbyshire 70 for 5. Beer recommendations?
Not particularly. I was going to say you mentioned run-outs. We saw a run-out in each of the 2 innings in the first game. Was there a run-out in the...
there was a stumping, but as
that was
next
almost
delivery just clipped out towards Cow Corner. They'll come through for a single. Are they going to push for a second? No, they're not. It's just a single there. 90 for 60. Look, I always go with the... I'm a big fan of the IPA, so I'm not going to recommend it based on what's in the shop, but that would be my beer of choice, depending on see what the selection are like. But if you send a photo of what's there, I'm sure we could come up with some recommendations.
I'm partial to the Kingfisher Premium myself.
Kingfisher maybe?
Don't really get that here either, sadly.
Okay. Kingfisher, I've had a few here and there, and they're reasonable. Actually, go quite well with some food as well, so that's nice.
I think Essex are going for the throat here. They're going to keep Harmer on.
Yep. It's a right move as well.
Still got 2 overs left, yes.
2 overs left.
3 wickets for 6 runs.
As Harmer comes into bowl, and his delivery again turning wildly. This is down the leg side. It's clipped away. We'll see if it's leg byes or not. But it's gone through to the boundary for either 4 leg byes. Oh no, off the bat, so 4 runs there.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Getting a lot of turn.
Too ambitious with that line, and nicely leg glanced by Hughes.
But smart cricket from Hughes. He's 18 off 14 at the moment. Just sort of playing the percentages right now. His next ball is just cut straight into the ground, and they'll run through for a quick single. Well batted again by Hughes.
No, and they really don't need to do anything else. They just need to keep trickling the runs along. There's no reason to play stupid shots, to try to accelerate. The run rate's under control, so it is just keep your wickets.
Yep, and attempted Harmer sort of runs into bowl, but something's distracted the batsman or something said, so he's going to come in again, and this time it's a wide delivery, so it sort of was almost a half tracker because of the spin. It sort of went past the batsman, and it hasn't been called wide.
Not been given wide.
So that's surprising. So that is very surprising. It wasn't called wide. It was down the leg side, so I'm not sure why that's the case. But Harmer comes into bowl. A full toss. That's just defended. Surprised him a bit and driven out towards long on for a single. Harmer, I'd say his stats of 3 for 12. I'd say his reputation is preceding him by Hughes, who's just given him a bit of a free hit on that full toss.
That's what can happen when a bowler's kind of spinning a web. You're not really ready to hit when the bad ball comes.
Absolutely agree. And Harmer, this next delivery again turns massively. And so much so that Hughes got into the position to cut the ball, but because the turned so massively, he was out of position. Ended up just sort of dabbing it back to the bowler to short mid-wicket for no run.
Well, if Moeen Ali's watching this, he might be licking his lips for this final.
This next delivery, he just clipped out to short mid-wicket, and they will run through for a single, moving Hughes to 20. He'll retain the strike. Harmer, 13 runs off his 3 overs for the 3 wickets, so some really good T20 stats there. And yeah, it will be interesting to see if he bowls his 4th over now or not.
He may not. They may hold this one back. They're halfway point of the innings. They got 83 of the 160 runs, which is slightly more than half, but they're 4 wickets down. So still intriguingly poised, and we wouldn't want to write anybody off after what happened this morning.
Absolutely not. I guess we'll see, but Essex did still say box seat right now.
5 down, of course, excuse me, yeah. So they have lost half the wickets.
They have lost half the wickets, but, it is a T20, and stranger things have happened, and they're certainly not, by any means, out of the running, particularly with that low run rate required at the moment, and this next shot is just cut away towards point. There's a bit of a misfield there, not a clean pickup, but they'll just keep it to that single, bringing Critchley to strike. He's on 4 not out, Derbyshire 79 for 5, still needing 82.
Chris the Croyer says that was the second time this week that Harmer has been on a hat-trick.
Wow, okay.
Been taking a lot of wickets in the championship.
Lots of wickets there. Najjar comes into bowl. This delivery, just pushed out, defended off the front foot to sort of like a shortish long on. I wouldn't call it a mid on or a long on. It's just sort of halfway house there, but they'll come through for an easy single. Playing the percentage as well, these two have been in for a reasonable partnership so far, have looked quite assured, actually, since that last wicket occurred. So Najjar comes in, this ball's cut straight into the ground, and they're going to run through for a quick single as the ball bounces over the keeper's head and is picked up by the short fine leg and thrown back into him.
Just bowling a little bit quickly, a little bit short for me, Najjar. He could be braver and toss it up a little bit.
Yeah, especially with the fact that they need a wicket or two, and then suddenly it's game over.
Yeah.
And this next delivery is the wicket there. So an attempted slog sweep by Critchley, which is completely missed, and the off stump instead, it doesn't go flying, but the ball hits the stump and it pegs back due to the pace of the ball. But it's a great wicket there, and Derbyshire lose their 6th wicket for 81. So that ball just stayed a bit low, a bit fuller, stayed its line, didn't turn at all. It was just missed. It probably wasn't the right shot, if anything, with that ball being quite straight. But Critchley will be fuming because that was a good partnership that he just built together earlier there. But he departs for 5 off his 8 deliveries. Still 80 needed, so they need to double their score from now.
Yeah, with 6 wickets down, it's not going to be easy.
Definitely not. It is looking like the Falcons are going to struggle versus the Eagles, but you never know. Let's see who the new batsman is. Do we have a jingle for him once we work out who it is?
Not sure who it is first.
So we'll wait to see how it goes.
Possibly,
but it's
yes,
Smith.
we do.
Smith me with your best shot. Darren, smith me with your best shot. Smith me with your best shot. Fire away.
Averaging 25 is Smith, and his next delivery just takes his foot across and just firmly plants a forward defensive drive that goes quite far, actually, past point, and they'll take through a single. He's hit 250 so far, so I think they'll be wanting something like that from him today, or at least a nice 30-40 to support Hughes, who is going to be that player who needs to bring them home now. As Hughes is facing right now as Najjar comes into bowl. His next delivery is just defended off the back foot out towards point, who comes running in firing it back into the keeper, so there's no run there. Well bowled.
It's the end of the over. 2 for 24 for Nijar, who's recovered from a bit of tap in his first over, and a lot of batsmen have been bowled in this innings. At least 4.
Yeah. Now, any more tweets come in?
Yeah, so Leo recommends a beer called Jiva, if you can get it over here.
Okay.
A fine Frisian Pilsner brewed in the northern style. Very dry with delicious grassy notes. Just perfect for a warm afternoon.
Excellent. That actually sounds really good.
Bit of a beer Philistine. Beer is beer to me.
Lots of nuances to beers, but yeah, that actually sounds really good.
It does, yeah. I'm more partial to a cocktail myself. Give me a nice pina colada at any point of the day, and I'm a happy man.
Happy man. I think one thing I've always enjoyed doing is a nice old Dan Lawrence coming in to bowl. So we're not going to see the spinner bowl out for 4. They'll keep one over up his sleeve as Lawrence comes into bowl. And this delivery just flicked out towards short wicket for a single. A really sort of interesting run-up where he kind of comes steaming in, both arms being above his head as he fires in a delivery. But Lawrence in for his first delivery of this match.
Has the look of a part-timer, and his stats would seem to back that up.
Very Langley. I don't know. It's the best way. Gangly is the best way I can describe this run-up. It's just sort of arms going everywhere, flaying around. But this delivery is bowling quite well. So he sort of came to the pitch of the ball, Hughes, but hits his pad. It was a half-hearted appeal, which was obviously not given. But he's getting a bit of movement, a bit of turn, Lawrence. I think that action's also probably confusing Hughes slightly, especially when you're looking to get some a bit more momentum going. But so far, 2 deliveries, 1 run, doing quite well. His next ball is slog slept, just picked up from the outside the off stump, and it's just hit out towards deep mid-wicket, and it'll run through just for a single.
Yeah, the action makes it seem quicker, the ball going quicker than it actually is.
And that whole sort of perception of pace rather than the actuality of pace, yeah, you're right. But look, I think the spinners are bowled really well today. They've taken a lot of overs from spin. I'd say, two bowlers they've got, including Lawrence here, almost, if not half the overs, if not more, by the end of this innings will end up being through spin. And they've used them well with the field settings. There's always been, the slog sweep's always been on with some of their field settings, which means
they've picked up a few wickets. Going for that shot.
Yeah, so they've cost a few 4s, but I think what's been good is they'll continue as Lawrence comes in a reverse sweep that's hit straight to the short fine leg, so that will come through for a quick single. And that's actually quite well run in some ways, because Smith sort of ends up running through, and Hughes waited a bit, and then he ended up running through after the ball came back into the keeper's hand. So you're right though, it was hit at the wrong end. If they'd gone to the right end, it might have been a potential run out there. But in the end, no harm done there as Hughes faces this next delivery. And this is tried to sweep it again. There's an appeal for LB double, but it pitched outside the leg stump. Or was missing outside off stump.
It did. I mean, the angle right arm round is going to be difficult.
I don't think it's going to be. Yeah, so if you look at this, it's okay. No, it's pitched in line, but I would say it's missing off stump.
Missing off. Hasn't turned it back enough.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
But you are right. That didn't pitch outside the leg stump. I think it just looked like it did with the way the angle comes in. But nonetheless not out. And this next delivery is a nice Yorker.
Well bowled.
That Lawrence is for a part-time or apparent part-time bowler. Yeah, none for 3 off his first over. Doing really, really well. 76 off 48 still needed.
Yeah, that run rate's going up. It's 9.5 now, and they can't afford to do much more rebuilding. 6 wickets down or not, you can't let that run rate get much higher. So Derbyshire up against it.
Absolutely.
You need to pick a bowler at this point and just go after them, but everyone's keeping it pretty tight as well.
Yeah, you're right. Nijar is going to come in for his final over. He's 2 for 24 off his 3, and you'd say he copped a bit of early stick, and he may be the ball to go after. But the spinners have bowled so well so far, and what I've really enjoyed is the captains get good faith in the spinners, even though they've been hit early, and this next delivery is just cut out towards point, straight to the fielder, but they'll come through for a single, as it was hit to his left, which meant he had to tumble a bit, which gave enough room for them to run through for a single. But yeah, it's certainly, even just looking at it, they've been hit for a few 4s here and there with the slog sweep, but they've kept the game plan going and it's picked up quite a few wickets with that clean bowl coming in. This next delivery is just defended, not deliberately by Hughes, but he ends up defending and getting under edge onto his pad, which just falls right in front of him for no run.
In other cricket scores, Manchester City are 8 for no wicket, but probably about to declare.
as Nijar comes into bowl, and this is again turning away from him. So Hughes sort of backs away from it. If probably left it, might have been down leg side, but he ends up trying to cut it, but doesn't have enough room to cut, and it just falls straight in front of him. So that's 3 dot balls. 1 run and 2 dot balls there. Off his first 3 deliveries, a bit of pressure creeping up on Hughes, and he goes to he's been stumped.
Yep,
completely stumped.
Well
He walks sort of down the pitch to try to get to the pitch of it, misses it. The ball spins past the outside edge, easy take for the keeper, and that's been stumped. And therefore, Derbyshire fall further into this hole, losing their 7th wicket.
I would suggest that it is an unget-outable hole now. It's also about to finish AFC Wimbledon 1, Bristol Rovers 3. You should have been here, Hendo. You'd have had a much better time.
Hughes, 23 of 27. It looked reasonably good for a lot of his innings, but unfortunately the pressure has gotten to him and he couldn't bring his team home. And
well, he was he was a bit stuck in between. A lot of wickets going down at the other end, but like I say, that run rate was climbing, and I just think Essex's spinners have bowled really well. It's we shouldn't count our chickens too early, but I think a Worcestershire v Essex final is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, certainly will. And look, it'll be a bit of a shock to lose from here, as Hudson Prentice, the man with the headband from memory, comes to the crease. Let's see what he has to offer. As Jack comes into bowl, his delivery is just defended off the back foot, quite deep towards a deepish point as a cuppa, and it's coming through for a single. So he's off the mark there, which is good.
And Nijar just completed his spell where he's also taken 3 wickets in only his 2nd senior T20 game.
Absolutely
so
brilliant performance from the youngster.
Oh, he's not quite.
He's got one more ball. He's got an
one more
opportunity to. He's 3 for 26 off his. He's got 1 ball remaining. Let's see what's going to happen here. How's this figure's going to end up? It is going to be a single, as it's just clipped out and the keeper runs past it to get it. So 3 for 27 off his 4, and is what you've said. Second performance is a brilliant way, particularly in a semi-final, with the pressure rising, to deliver that. And it'll be interesting to see how he goes in his 3rd run with in the final coming up.
It certainly looks that way. It certainly looks that way. I think we do a change in the commentary booth.
Yes, at the end of this over, I believe. We'll continue until then. 73 of 42. It's certainly becoming a lot more difficult as time goes on. Rohin, any tweets to pick up?
So Leah corrected my pronunciation of Jiva, but I will attempt to do it after this ball.
Excellent. As Lawrence comes into bowl, his gangly action is just driven away past the diving fielder, and it won't hit the boundary because it'll be picked up by the man in the deep, and they'll run through for 2.
Yeah. Do you want to do that now?
Okay.
So just before we sign off and have the next guys come in, Jiva seems to be pronounced as Jeffer, but Leah, please feel free to correct me because I feel
Dan
like
Lawrence in with his loopy. Well, it's listed as leg spin, but it's really hard to tell what it is. It's sort of at the front of the hand. Bowls from round the wicket to Darren Smith, the Derbyshire keeper, who slog sweeps this down to long on for a single. He's on 7. Finn Hudson Prentice is on 1. Derbyshire 91 for 7, need 70 off 40 balls. You'll listen to Guerrilla Cricket's inaugural coverage of T20 Finals Day. Nottinghamshire's epic choke allowed Worcestershire to burgle their way to a 2nd final in 2 years, and Essex are well on top. In comes Dan Lawrence. He's bowled in. That was definitely an off break. Big swipe across the line from Finn Hudson Prentice, and Derbyshire lose an 8th.
Excellent use of burgle there, but I think Derbyshire will need a heist of Ocean's 11 proportions to get out of this one.
Yeah, Dan Lawrence, who bowls as though he's had Mushtaq Ahmed's action described to him down the phone, holds this
on a
back,
bad line.
holds this back a little bit, a little hint of straightening, and a wild, desperate swipe from Finn Hudson Prentice exposes the middle stump. Derbyshire 91 for 8, needs 70 from 39.
Yeah, I'd say this one's done. Leah says, no, Rowan, that was pretty good. Good pronunciation there. Pronunciation, whichever it is. And it does look like we're going to see the Essex Eagles against the Worcestershire Rapids. The Derbyshire... No, Essex, yes, Essex. Essex would have been favourites for this game. Worcestershire the underdogs. So.
Yeah, only slightly. I think.
No, not by much, no.
Obviously, not have a very strong team on paper, but Worcestershire are the defending champions and have Moeen.
And Moeen, well, I was going to say making amends, but he was man of the match in that first game for a quick fire 20 and then an excellent spell of 2 for 13.
Yeah, another spinner who has really tried to rip the ball. It's Derbyshire's overseas. The Dutchman Logan van Beek on strike will give him a jingle after his first ball, which he tries to drive through the offside. Thin inside edge comes off bat and pad and into the offside. There is no run.
Van Beek, I know what you're bowling. It's a hard cricket ball, so don't hit me 'cause it hurts.
Another attempted swipe from Van Beek. No power or timing. Thick inside edge. Adam Wheater comes around from behind the stumps to field into the leg side. There is no run. Derbyshire were very reliant on their top order throughout the season. Godwin and Madsen, and this sort of underexposed middle order has had no answer to the excellent spin bowling of Essex. Lawrence holds this one back a little bit. Again, turns a little bit off the inside part of the bat. Van Beek takes the single. He's on 1. Darren Smith is on 7. Derbyshire 92 for 8, needs 69 from the last 6 overs.
Well, hindsight is a wonderful thing, but Derbyshire may regret that rather gung-ho power play in which they scored plenty of runs but lost their big wickets.
I think it was the correct approach.
It was a correct approach. Maybe the execution was could have been looked at.
It's so difficult to score on this pitch when the field is out and when the pace is off the ball. I think they did correctly the right thing.
That's true, but certainly Rees seemed to be just swinging from the hip.
You think about the fact that who was the player who came in on his festival, went down the pitch, missing
against Harmer, who's bowling really well, just didn't give himself a chance.
I think just when they've lost 1 or 2 wickets, it makes sense to consolidate for a period of an over or two and then go back into it.
We have a change at the other end as well, with Aaron Najjar bowling out. 4 overs, 3 for 26 in just his second senior T20. Excellent stuff from him. And a man very much at the other end of the experience scale comes on to bowl. Starts with a dot ball into the offside.
I'm Ravi Bopara. You're listening to TestMatchSofa.com. They're not as funny as they think they are.
Well, Ravi Bopara, he's a batter.
In comes Bopara, right arm over the wicket. Wheater, of course, up to the stumps. This is driven out into the offside. A poor bit of fielding from the man at backward point allows them to come through for a single. Van Beek to 2.
He's a batter and a useful medium pace bowler to have in a limited overs game. Well, he scores.
I'd say that Essex have an incentive to finish this off quickly, just to get a bit more rest between the 2 games.
Yeah, obviously it's not quite the full the team that will be playing that decider against Somerset, but
no, I mean.
The
next game this afternoon.
Sure. This is outside off stump and cut by Darren Smith. Good sliding stop with the man at backward point. There is no run. Yeah, sure. Yeah, quite.
Yeah, I mean, an extra few overs here and there of rest or recovery. But it'll be interesting to see if their tactics sort of change moving into it and whether having that break or just being on this pitch and playing straight away actually means they're in a strong position. But
talking about this earlier on, whether it's better to win the first game or the second. In the first, you've had a big long break and time to sit down and tighten up.
Slow ball outside off stump, and Smith nudges this into the leg side. Bopara has to race back to where mid-on would have been and throws down the stumps from that position with long on back on the boundary. I think it's bounced away for what might have been a ricochet, but Smith and Van Beek ran so far past the stumps that there was no danger of an overthrow. They are going upstairs, but I'm pretty sure that the batter was comfortably home.
I was talking about a lot of people being bowled in this innings. Chris the Choir says, courtesy of Zoltz, the first time in T20 more than 8,000 matches that 6 batsmen have been bowled out by spinners in an innings, as in hit the stumps.
That's very impressive. Yeah, not out. Logan van Beek was home comfortably. Yeah, that's quite something. History has been made.
And Armchair Cricket Podcast tells Bangladesh require 35 off 25 with 4 wickets in hand, but Rashid Khan's going to bowl 13 of those balls.
Back of the hand slow ball from Bopara, very loopy. Darren Smith waits for this and clips it into the leg side. The man comes in from the long on boundary to field. They come through for a single. Singles do absolutely nothing for Derbyshire at this point.
Well, I don't think anything does anything for them much. What can you do but play out the rest of the innings? Linux Lear, hi, you're listening to Ravi Bopara, who's even denser than he thinks he is.
Yeah, there's an old and long story behind that one. That was originally a quote from Stephen Brinkley of The Independent, which we got Ravi Bopara, or they got Ravi Bopara to parrot. Back of a length from Bopara, a little bit quicker. Van Beek blocks this back to the bowler. There is no run. None for 19 off his 3, Ravi Bopara, and Derbyshire limp towards a comfortable defeat.
They do. I do feel for teams at the tail enders a little bit in this situation. They've been kind of dropped in it, and they've got to try, in theory, to score 12 and over. But
I mean, in theory, you may as well have a bit of a hit, pick your balls out. I don't think they're going to do anything by getting singles around. If they can connect a few, change a bit
no
of that momentum.
No one's going to blame them if they go for a hoik at this point.
Exactly right.
And Derbyshire bowled well, I think, through most of the innings, apart from that onslaught from Cameron Delport, which looks even more the standout innings of the game than it did at the time.
Is he your man of the match?
Yes,
or,
I think he is.
Or one of the spinners?
The spinner.
Harmer's bowled so well, actually.
Is who I'd go there.
Maybe if Harmer gets another wicket or two.
If he gets another ball. Lawrence is going to continue 1 for 7 off his 2 overs. A full toss outside off stump, which Darren Smith takes full advantage of. Stretches across outside off stump. Paddle swoops fine for 4.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary. Crossing a boundary.
Bit of average padding for Darren Smith, and why not?
The low full toss that he's happy to flick
I just
away.
saw a group of Where's Wallies in the crowd. There you are, I saw you.
I was a bit surprised that Harmer took himself off. He could have killed off the game, but his other bowlers have done the job for him. Lawrence, much faster and flatter. Another paddle sweep from Darren Smith to short fine leg. They take a single. He's on 15. Logan van Beek on 2. Not selected by Holland for this tri-series that's just been going on between Ireland, Scotland and the Netherlands. Which Ireland won with a 1-run victory. Down the track of Logan van Beek, and that's a great shot. Shot of the innings, I think, from Logan van Beek. Down the track, met this on the half volley and launched it back over long on for 6. Fabulous shot from Van Beek into the hospitality stand.
Oh, it's a hit someone, but tell you what, if they can do a few more of these...
a lot more.
A lot
the
more.
pressure's off at this stage.
Maybe 10 more of these and they win the game.
The pressure's off at this stage for Van Beek, and that was beautiful. Lawrence in 4th ball of the over, continuing round the wicket with his big, high, loopy action, much better delivery. Hold it back a little bit, and Van Beek just nudges this into the mid-wicket region. Lawrence fields off his own bowling. They come through for a single.
Buddy Bashar on the Crick Tracker says, final Worcestershire win. Certainly, after this game's finished, let us know how you think the final is going to go on Twitter, Facebook, Crick Tracker and YouTube. Derbyshire 108 for 8, need 53 off 26.
It's not notional yet. Lawrence in beats Smith's attempted sweep shot. Turns a little bit, nicely taken on the juggle by Adam Wheater, and there is no run.
It's still 25, still 4 overs to go. You'd think...
We've seen more improbable things happen, but not that many.
It's unlikely, we'll put it this way. Improbable.
Lawrence in, slug sweep from Darren Smith, and he's picked the gap, but the ball's plugged a little bit, and square leg can come round to field. Paul Walter out there on the deep square leg boundary. They come through for a single. We've not seen Paul Walter with the ball at all today.
Hasn't been required.
That's the end of the over.
Nor have we seen Ryan Tenjaskata. That is the end of the over, 109 for 8.
Good to have some extra options, though. Might need them in the final.
Yeah, maybe the pitch will quicken up a little bit under the lights, a little bit more skid, a little bit more dew.
But 7 wickets for the spinners in this innings.
Yeah, Harmer bowled beautifully.
He really did, yes.
Over 13, still got the 1 over. I wonder if he bowls now.
Yeah, it could be. Aaron Beard's only bowled 1 over. Jamie Porter's only bowled 2 overs. Bapara's got an over left, so there's plenty of options, as does Dan Lawrence.
Dan Lawrence has bowled quite well with his ungainly part-time action.
It is going to be a change of bowling, though.
Oh.
It is going to be a new bowler, a 7th bowler. It is the man who has batted like no one else on either team has managed, probably apart from Moeen Ali, throughout the day. He's in with his dob, straight dob though, and nudged by Darren Smith into the leg side. They won't come back for 2. Big puffs of dust as both batters turn on their heels. Just a single to Darren Smith off the bowling of. Not the worst record. 60 wickets at under 8 and over. Back of the hand slower ball from Cameron Delport, and Van Beek just nudges this down to long on for a single. 51 needed off 23. Sorry, 50 needed off 22. Derbyshire 111 for 8.
Of course, the lights will come into play later on, so it'll be interesting to see how that affects
See if they
things.
do. Would you bat first? Would you bowl first? Interesting decisions to make.
We did see in both the quarterfinals. This is outside off stump. Very slow delivery. Smith walked across outside off stump. Delport, I think, saw him coming and bowled it outside off stump. Smith waited for it and cut it away. All of the quarterfinals played under lights were won by the chasing team because it got hard to bowl with the dew around. So that might come into things. Delport in. Down the track comes Van Beek. Slightly yorks himself and clips this up to long on, having had visions of peppering the members.
48 off 20 they need now. Every single just ups that rate some more.
It's 12 and a half and over. Look, I think they should go out in a blaze of
In a
glory.
blaze
Give
of glory.
Robbie Rampel a bit of a hit.
Length delivery, to which Smith walks across and clips this down to deep backward square leg, where Ryan Chandraskata fields. They come through for a single. Delport being milked around, not that it really matters at this stage. As Andy said, singles are of negative use, in a sense, to Derbyshire at this point. 47 needed off 19.
Nice.
Van Beek
Jog
comes
out
down the
forward.
track to a very wide delivery. I think Delport saw him coming. Van Beek adjusts at the last minute, thrusts his bat out at it, and manages to pick up 4. Because short third man was up off the outside edge. 118 for 8, 43 needed for Derbyshire off the last 3 overs to pull off an even more unlikely win than Worcestershire managed.
Now, this is something I don't know. I should imagine it has been very rare for a team to change their 11 on finals day. Of course, theoretically,
Barring
they
an
could
injury,
do
maybe.
it. It would be a tough call after you've won a game to leave someone out.
Would you
for
bring
the
in another
final.
spinner?
Yeah, there's a possibility, of course. I mean, Worcestershire only had Moeen Ali. Maybe they will think about that.
It is an option. Plenty of time to discuss all these things and maybe watch the second semi-final and see how it goes. The captain is bringing himself back on to try and kill things off, but is reverse swept straight to backward point. 4 for Simon Harmer on finals day. Derbyshire 118 for 9.
You flipping muppet.
You got to get on with things. It was a nicely hit reverse sweep, but straight to the man from Darren Smith, who goes for 20 off 18. And Simon Harmer, 3.1 overs, 4 for 13.
Can he get a fifer?
There were 2 men in the ring for that. People are ready for the reverse sweep these days.
Well, I mean, the other side of that is there was no one regarding that boundary.
No, I suppose that was his option, but he didn't get enough height on it. And it went straight to the fielder. So Simon Harmer with a chance for fifer.
Fifer on finals day. I don't know how many of those there have been. I wouldn't expect too many.
And right now, the chance to be on his third on a hat trick in the same week as well. If he gets this,
If he gets this one, can he be on a hat trick in the
can't,
final?
You can't pull a hat trick between games.
Well,
you can't cover
some
it.
people say have claimed it.
Well, they're wrong. The big former West Indian who has been the leading wicket taker in the tournament and bowled quite beautifully again today, out Ravid Bopara. It is this man. We'll give him a jingle if he survives his first ball from Simon Harmer, bowling round the wicket. A slip in place for the first time today. Harmer on a fifer. Turns a mile actually from middle and off stump. And Rumpole leaves through to the keeper. There is no run. Outside off stump. This one goes on with the arm, and Rumpole blocks it into the offside. Fielded eventually by Bopara at short extra cover. There is no run.
I think Derbyshire will just keep Essex in the field a bit just to annoy them.
Harmer in with his shades, tosses this up.
Yeah, maybe.
Wild hoik from Ravi Rumpole, but he's a big man. He's, I think he's got all of that, and it's gone in between cow corner and deep square leg for 6.
Yep, it has gone absolutely for 6 there.
It's been caught by a Power Ranger. The red one, whichever one that is.
He hit it a lot better than I thought he did, because I was originally looking for the wicket time, because I
It has
thought it went
been
straight up in the air.
very difficult to pick up the high shots all day.
And that's 32% of the runs that Simon Harmer has conceded today in one shot. 4 for 19, 2 balls left of his spell. 37 off 14 needed as Ravi Rumpole faces up to a much fuller, flatter delivery from Simon Harmer, who is no doubt annoyed at being slogged for 6 by number 11. Blocks back to the bowler, does Rumpole. There is no run.
Tell you what, his stats are still pretty good. 4 for 19. If he gets it for another 6, 4 for 25, you take that.
He gets a wicket, 5 for 19. That's what he'll be hoping for.
Tossed up outside off stump, a wild head-up slog from Ravi Rumpel. Missed it completely. Simon Harmer didn't get the 5 for, but 4 for 19 for the Essex captain. Wonderful stuff from the man who's been the best spinner in England for the last few years. Derbyshire 124 for 9. Need 37 off the last 2 overs.
Rashid Khan's bowling the 18th over has gone for 18 runs.
Ooh, wow.
And Bangladesh now need 9 off 12.
Okay, that's changed things.
That's Mossadegh and SAH 75 official. That's Shakib, isn't it?
Yeah, Mossadegh Hussain can hit the ball a long way, and we know. And Shakib was, well, he is magnificent.
Batsman of the World Cup.
Delport in bowling the crucial 19th over, or not. Back of a length and swiped at by Logan van Beek. Out to Aaron Beard, who's only bowled the 1 over today. He comes in off the mid-wicket boundary. They come through for a single. The seamer's somewhat surplus to requirements.
Yes, well, he might have another go in the final. Some of these bowlers will be thinking about keeping themselves loose. They might be out bowling again in about an hour from now. What time does the final start?
6:45.
Oh, okay. An hour and a half they'll have then from now.
In comes Delport to Ravi Rumpel. LBW
Back
shout
on that, surely.
inside edge,
surely
surely
inside
onto
edge,
pad. The umpire says no, not out, but there is no run.
Rumpel will be nice to see just a few more 6s. Let's see what he has in store here.
Yeah, it was a pretty good connection he got off Harmer in the last over.
Is this going to be his last game in English cricket, or do you think he's going to come back?
I think he might well go on. Horrible delivery from Delport. Back of the hand slower ball, which he gets horribly wrong, well wide of the line, and the umpire spreads his wings.
And of course, there are some championship games this week, aren't there? Or is that only in Division 1?
There is a full round of county championship games. I don't think Derbyshire are troubling the top of the Division 2 standings. Outside off stump and blocked by Ravi Rumpel into the offside. They decide against the single. There is no run.
But they do look done today, 126 for 9.
Yeah, it's been a good run for Derbyshire, their first time at finals day, only the 3rd time they've made it out of the group, but it looks like it will be Worcestershire and Essex competing in the final. Back of the hand slower ball, Rumpel goes down the ground. Has he found the man? That's a really good catch from Arun Najjar, completing what's been a very good day for him. 3 wickets and that catch to finish things off. Derbyshire 126 all out. Essex win by 34 runs, and while Worcestershire got past Nottinghamshire thanks to the formers choking and their own excellence later in the innings. Really, once Simon Harmer came to the party today, it all looked good for Essex, and they completed a very professional job.
Yes, well done to them. So they'll have 1840. It's not 1830.
6:45 is the start of the
so
final. We'll be back on at 6:35.
A solid hour and a half. This is. I'm probably done. Well, I am in fact done for today.
So as am I.
But I did say last week I was done for a while, and yet here I am, so I won't make any promises. But those have been 2 enjoyable semi-finals. Certainly a dramatic turnaround in the first one, where Nottinghamshire looked all set to cruise home in a chase, but a flurry of late wickets, and Ben Duckett couldn't get them over the line. So Worcestershire won by 1 run, and as Knackle just said, Essex completed a much more comfortable 34-run win. So you might argue they have the momentum, having played second. Worcestershire will be, I should imagine, back in their hotel, but maybe...
We just saw them on the balcony.
They're just on the balcony.
Maybe just had a bit of a sleep.
Well, I mean, one of the logistical things is, where do you put 3 teams in pavilions that presumably only have 2 dressing rooms?
I'm sure they'll manage something. But, so it's going to be Worcestershire and Essex in the final. Is Liz coming in?
Liz is not coming in, but Chris Daly will be coming in to join the crew for the final. We look forward to seeing Chris. I'm sticking around, Grubby's sticking around, Tony's sticking around, Rohin's sticking around for a little while as well. So you've got a pretty good crew for the final, which will be Essex against Worcestershire.
Well, good luck with that, and I'll see you when I see you.
Yeah, we'll go back to, actually we'll have a little word about how you can support the show there, that Rihanna jingle, and then we'll go back to some highlights.
Alternative cricket commentary. Bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles.